because we're talking some stuff. Hey, everybody, this is Podcastforwe. Podcast for me and Ever over there, and you guys, and we're all together podcasting. I'm pretty sure this is a midlife crisis enacting, but it's all good. Let's all join the fun. So, how has it been since last week? Any new developments for you?
I'm in California. They were rolling back, the reopenings, and I totally forgot. Like I saw it coming, right? I totally forgot to go get a haircut, and the barbershop's closed again. So,
Adrian, talk to Adrian. He said that you guys closed. You're back to stage one again.
We're pretty much back to stage one. Indoor activity. So, the phase one reopening. That's where we're at. We're like at phase two, almost three. The movie theaters are starting to open up.
Back. There's still businesses open.
Yeah, it's
for now.
It sucks.
Well, for you, it shouldn't be any different. You're still doing you're still full bore on the doing the
distance learning.
Yeah, the online thing.
We're getting ready for that. There was whispers about a hybrid, system where the kids would come in a couple days and then it'd be online the rest of the days. And I think they've thrown that out the window. I think we're going to start all online.
Seriously, there's not going to be a intermittent kind of thing, like not like 2 days in school.
No, especially since California is going in the wrong direction. Everybody's like, you know what?
And define wrong direction.
Well, I mean, wrong direction in terms of data. It was just like maybe we reopened too fast, or. Well, I'll tell you what. I went to the beach, right?
The same with the cop, or again?
Sorry?
Remember when you said you went to the beach, the cop came up to you, and you're eating a burrito? Or
no, this is another time.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I went out there swimming, jumping in the waves and stuff, and that was fun. And we were distanced, right? And then I went out again by the beaches last weekend, and people were like this, and not just like you could tell they were family. It was just, people being together. It was, I kind of knew. But the problem is, it's like we're all cooped up for so long. When everybody got a first little bit of air, they were just soaking it up.
Hold that thought. My kid just came out. All right, where were we? Oh, I got you on the spot. I didn't even see.
No. We're talking about like the reopenings. And it was just this thing where, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's just human nature. We were all bottled up for so long, and all of a sudden things are open and we're like, everybody went out to check it out. Probably not the best thing to do.
That goes to show you how how people are. It's go or no go. Like either you shut the thing down or you don't. People like to think, oh yeah, we're adults, and no, a populace doesn't work that way. So like when they kind of opened, they kind of didn't. It wouldn't work. It would never work. It never will work. So I don't even think they should close it down. They should just leave it open.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not talking bad on anybody because I'm the same way. Yeah. But at the same time, I was trying to stay away from people. Yeah. I was wearing my mask, and doing all that.
But that's just you. Everybody else. There's maybe like 1 or 2 out of 10 that are going to do what they're supposed to do. But the rest of the people are just dumb. I mean, that's just a reality. Like, anyone who thinks, they just look around yourself and you're with dumber people. I'm not saying that I'm smart, but man, I see dumb people and they probably think I'm dumb. And it's just the whole. If we're dumb, let's just open it up, dude. This is not going to work.
Well, I don't agree with that either, but.
Well, okay. So it opens up, right? People die. I mean, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, but, if people don't have to die.
Yeah, but you're
going
to get 2 things. One, public unrest. You're just gonna wait for someone to snap, and bad shit's going to go down. And the economy is going to shit itself. That's number 2. Those are 2 real bad things. And
that was already happening, though.
Oh, it's going to happen more. You know what I mean? Like, if you just leave it open, people are just going to die. It's going to be a virus. People will get complacent with it. That's just the way it is. People are dying all.
I mean, I would agree with you because people are complacent about like car crashes and stuff like that.
Everything, really. I mean, like heart disease, alcohol poisoning, things like that.
Yeah, the problem, I think the real problem is though, again, if hospitalizations go up,
That's
you
true. I
know,
know.
and
I'm with
and
that. But
and the system's not, we have a system that's already built for, the average car crashes, the average number of flu, intense flu cases. The system's already kind of set up for what we're used to.
no, I
But
know.
you stack this other thing on it.
Hey, I mean, it's just until we figure it out. I guess in staffing, get more people and stuff like that. But then, I mean, we've already like loosened the burden. It's not as bad. So let it open and then just hire people. And
I think here's the problem. I don't think our leaders across the board, Democrats, Republicans, obviously I'm going to put more onus on the president, right?
of course,
But he's the president.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
to me.
Um, as an educator, and maybe you've seen this as a parent, if you set expectations, if you have, if you're upfront about when things are going to happen, then you know then people are actually kind of more willing to accept what that's going to be. So like as a teacher in the classroom, if I kind of lay out the day, if I have an outline on the board, my students know what to expect. I feel like everybody at the beginning was kind of too hesitant to say, hey, we're not going to have, I mean, logically, we're not going to have a vaccine for a long time. So these are probably going to be the measures and the way of life that we're going to have to live in for the next year. And we're going to start coming up with a plan now, instead of all of the optimism in spite of the data, because we're not, infectious disease experts.
No.
You have a background in medicine. I'm a science teacher, but that doesn't make either of us,
Well, we're not the leaders of the
that field.
we're not the leaders of the free country, but we have opinions, right? Like, and you have a opposing point. I do too. And my thought is, okay, so what's the big thing that we close this for, right? Is so that the infrastructure can handle it, right?
Yeah, so that the curve does this.
Well, we have achieved this in the sense that we've closed down shit, and then we've emptied out our ICUs, right? What we need to do is when we did that, we get to a point where we can handle an extreme amount and let it open. And then people will get sick, people will die, and they'll get used to it, just like the flu. I mean, like if you were to tell people right now, like say they for fuck COVID, say flu just started happening, right? You're saying 100,000 people dead. No matter what the fuck you do, it'd be a different story, right? And flu's more realistic than like COVID. It's kind of hard.
The counter to that argument, though, and I mean, I don't know the numbers specifically to do a cost benefit analysis or whatever, but the problem with that is if you overbuild your infrastructure to handle one spike in 1 year, all of a sudden you're going to come out on the other end of that spike and you're going to be like, okay, now we need to lay off all these people. Now we have all this equipment that we don't need anymore.
No, always need equipment for, say, pneumonia, because that's what's going to happen, right?
We already have a system built for pneumonia.
No, for that. But if you have an influx of more like chest X-rays and things like that, that can't hurt. But
no, that's fine.
I'm with you on personnel. That's why we should have like a temp agency. And like, what is it? What do we need? What do we need personnel for? We need people to check in patients. I actually have experience in this. Check in patients. So you just need like the basic temps to just get people in there. And then you need basic, like, that's about it, really. And then just usher them into the X-ray room.
But
like you just X-ray their chest and say.
But you're talking about, but you're saying that right now we have enough professionals, that need like years of training or whatever, specialized training. We have enough of them in case we have a big old spike.
Well, for the spike for flu, okay. So for instance, if it's flu, right? It's more of a, hey, got flu, shit. What will you do? Right? Go home. That's about it, really. And then like the severe cases, like IV fluid and things like that. Now, it couldn't hurt to teach people how to do IVs. It's not that hard, I mean, like anyone who thinks this is a hard thing, Really needs to. I don't even know why there's. Yeah, dude. It's well, it's not that, but I mean, like, it is pretty fucking easy. I mean, like, you could train temps for that, and then just lower. See, California is pretty fucked up with the restrictions and such, but there shouldn't be that many licenses to fucking do an IV. You know, I don't know. I think that would be an easily trainable thing that you could do for like high school kids or some shit like that, and then just have an influx of fucking volunteers and just teach them how to do an IV and then fucking get it done. Yes, people would die. That's gonna happen, but not as much. And then, I mean,
but here's the problem.
against it.
Here's the problem. Right now, you and I, we're problem solving. We're looking at, okay, what could this happen? What might happen here? What could happen here? And you're using your professional experience to bear on this.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to bring my understanding, and I'm hearing you out and stuff. And I don't think that was happening at the top.
Yeah, dude. Even if it was, I don't get the feeling that is. And you know what? It's weird, and that's where you need a leader. That's just fucking it.
Well, and that's why I think this is more a failure of leadership, because there's people that know what you know that are up there. There's people that know what I know up there, and then some. You know,
and, like, we'll argue, but at least we could come like, hey, what do you want in the end? You want deaths? Do you want the economy to shit itself? I mean, like, a lot of people like they make.
We can crunch the numbers. We can crunch the numbers and then look and then say, okay, well, you know, what's the lesser of the two evils, and not just try and paint a rosy picture. Because my problem was, first they said, what was it, 15 days to slow the spread, you know, and then all of a sudden it turned into like, okay, we need another 30 days to slow the spread. Oh, now we need 45 days to slow the spread. What's the matter?
Wait. All right, here we go. We're back into it. Sorry, guys, technical difficulty. What were we talking about? With, like,
well, I'm kind of focusing on failure of leadership, right?
Yeah, I agree.
They weren't. I don't know if they were too scared or if it was political to say, hey, you know what? This is going to be a lot longer than 15 days. They told everybody 15 days, and then they were like, well, we're going to need another 30. Oh, now we need 45. And now they don't even count the days anymore because they don't know, right? I think now they're starting to come around and say, you know, we really don't know how long we're going to need to be in these conditions. When I think there's people up there that do know, and I think Fauci's one of those that knows, that kind of looked at it, and, you know, I'm sure when they said 15 days, he was probably like, okay, you know, we'll try this out, but.
Well, like, I don't think that anyone really knew too much, and it was kind of a thing in which we're just kind of playing it by ear, because even Fauci said some shit that was then later disputed.
That was January, though.
I know.
Yeah. Trump and them have been digging up stuff that he said in January that was based on data that we had in January that a lot of people thought in January. But
yeah, but you know, hindsight's because it wasn't just him; it was other people too.
Yeah, it was a lot of people. Yeah, I think
a unified leader to get to where we need to go, whether people die or not, and we have to really weigh out the outcome of economy versus, you know, people dying and such.
And there's people that can run the numbers on that, because I think that's the way we've done things for a long time. You know, again, you know, it's like, okay, people die in car accidents. Well, you know, what would be the impact of the economy if we had to tell everybody they had to transport everything by foot? You know.
Yeah, really, instead of doctors, other than doctors talking, you know, life and stuff, I think economists should really do the numbers, you know, so they can get that number down.
And it should be a discussion.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, it should be a discussion.
Yeah.
Between all the professionals and all the different sides. But I think a lot got dripped in that was political, looking at, you know, we're in election year. It was, God damn it, you know.
Yeah, you know, that I think that's the worst thing that happened out of all of this is that this all happened right before election. So it got politicized, and instead of getting real answers.
I think it would have been better if it had happened like
after election,
2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, it's a rough go, because like we're the ones who are going to suffer in the end, you know. And like, really shit on the it's funny too, because it's not just America too. It's other countries too doing shit, and they're having resurgences and such, and they have to figure out their stuff. So I don't know.
So did I get you hooked on Audit the Audit?
Oh shit. Yeah, that was my number one topic I wanted to talk about. Audit the audit. Everybody, needs to fucking watch that shit. You know, it
Yeah.
it is glorious, especially when there's the rating system between. You can kind of feel that, like as many as I watch, I think I watch like hours of it. You know, it's you can tell that he's kind of like on the side of the. He's kind of anti-police. You could kind of tell. It doesn't seem like it if you just watch the one.
Yes.
But you know how like even if the guy who's initiating the stupidity, he moves towards the police and he really just pushes on how the police fuck up, which he's not wrong, you know. But you can kind of tell he's a little biased.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm sure he's considering his audience too.
Of
You
course.
know, no, you know, it's more sensational to find cops that are being, you know, that are being abusive.
Yeah, me personally,
than,
I'm only looking at the videos where the cops are the bad guys.
right.
It's more interesting to me than say when the human being or the human being when the person who's getting arrested is like being a piece of shit.
but they, I don't know. I feel like they do tend to be mostly objective though.
Well, for the most part,
Um,
no. I mean, he's putting it out there. I mean, it's very in depth. I mean, like I like to see a counter to that, but I don't think it'd be there because he is fucking okay. For instance, okay, the one that I saw where he was in favor of the cops more than so the person is when I think I don't know if you gave me this one. It's when the guy goes into California and he needs an inspection and he claims the fourth. And he goes, you can't search and seizure my place and blah, 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 blah. Right. No, sir. It's an inspection. You got to make sure there's no bugs or some shit like that.
Right.
You know, and it made sense from their point of view. But his misunderstanding of the Fourth Amendment, it blinds him to what's going on. And he pushes forward, you know? And then, man, I wonder would that have been different if it was a black person? Because when he gets caught by the highway patrolman, and they're in the right at this point because he's already done something illegal. They just want to give him a ticket.
mm-hmm.
And he's like, he goes, hey, look, man, I don't want to do this, but I need your license registration. You don't need my license. I didn't do anything wrong. So he's already fucked up in the head because he doesn't understand he did something wrong.
Right.
So the cop is like doing everything. He goes, man, if you don't give me the license registration,
They gave him a lot of chances.
Yes.
A lot of chances.
They even got this guy who was probably more senior to them and knows more shit, who's off duty to help out. And he goes, look, bro, I'm off duty. We're going to have to break your window. We're going to break this window right here. Stand back. And they end up breaking the window in the end. And then this could have been avoided if he just, like, got a ticket, you know? Or just cooled it down. And that guy sucks.
Yeah, the guy, so I think I'd heard of it before, but I didn't really understand the concept of it. Auditors, you know, people that just go out to test, you know, different parts of the Bill of Rights and their civil liberties and all that stuff.
Was that
so that's what it is. So there's people that go out and audit. So there was one video where this dude's just like walking by an old folks home and he's just recording it.
Yeah, I seen that one. Yeah,
He's doing that to get the cops to come to arrest him.
Yeah.
Now, some auditors that do it because they want to sue the police afterwards and get money, right?
Yeah.
But no, these guys that go out and test, you know, their First Amendment rights and stuff like that.
Well, I think it was that, but I don't think the guy inside the car going into California, I don't think he was an auditor. I think he was because he called himself a constitutionist.
It's an auditor. Yeah, but he went through there 4 times.
Yeah, but that's what he does.
No, in the same night.
Seriously?
Go back and check it out again. They went back and forth, and then nothing, and then they said, "Hey, we'd like to search your vehicle," or no, inspect your vehicle, right? And honestly, I was watching it, and I was like, "Hey, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. How can they inspect this vehicle? It is technically," but then I remembered.
Well, he explains it though in the video.
He's coming from another state.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the video, he breaks down that this isn't it's a quarantine. It's an active quarantine. What it is to protect the economy.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's like 40% of the fucking agriculture comes from
California. Right.
Yeah.
So I think if they had explained that to him, if you said, you know what, I don't think you understand the purpose of this.
Yeah.
This is a quarantine. You know, if you want to enter California, you need to be open to being inspected. If not, you could turn around and go back.
They actually say that to an extent. They said
At the very end, I think after because first the first guy at the inspection point, he doesn't really break it down that way. Then a lady comes out and
yeah.
she doesn't break it down that way either.
No,
She
they,
just says, "Oh, you have to be inspected. You have to be inspected."
well, they're just doing their job. I don't think they really get the deep. Like they're just doing their job. They're honestly
No,
are.
no, no. But the thing is, and this is the problem that some people had at my work. They didn't say you have to be inspected if you want to come into California. If you don't want to be inspected, you could turn around and go back.
Mm.
You know, so if you really don't want to be inspected, you have an option, but you don't get to come into the state.
I think they said that. I really do think they said that in the
I
beginning.
don't remember the lady saying it. They said it once the highway patrol guys had him at the end.
No, well, there's that.
They said
But
we can give you a ticket, then you go back to Nevada or wherever the hell they were coming.
they like, if you leave here, we're gonna have to get you. We're gonna call highway patrolman. You get police, and they gave them the option to go back. I think, but it was real quick. I mean, they gave them the option. I really do.
They did. I think they gave him a lot of slack.
Yeah.
I think they gave him a lot of slack at the inspection point. I think they gave him a lot of slack when they stopped them again after the inspection at the highway patrol. And it is interesting. I mean, it's a hypothetical. I don't like working in hypotheticals, but yeah, it'd be interesting if it wasn't,
A white guy.
with his kids.
Yeah, because like, I mean, black guy, he starts like, the same exact thing. I wonder if it is, but we will never know.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of examples too where they get black people. But what I like about the audit, they also get a lot of different races. So sometimes there's like a minority officer or whatever,
The audit isn't like a racial thing though.
No. Right.
Because like most of the people that are fucking up are like, of ethnic color, but it's also a cop of ethnic color, like for instance, there was one where a guy was doing work in his own house, or I don't know what it was, a building or something like that. But it was a black guy, and he's trying to get his name and trying to get the information, and he has a gun on him too. The other guy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's his house, and he's just being difficult to be difficult, But it made me think about the pros and cons of this, right? Because okay, so you got this police force, right? In general, and they're just abusing people's rights, without you knowing. And then you got these guys, and these guys are assholes, but they are pushing on oppressive force, and they're using actual laws, and they're saying, hey, you can't do this, so this is consensual, right? And I don't know, like they end up getting arrested most times or some shit like that, but at least they fought the fight. So I don't know if they're doing the right or wrong.
So, and that's why I like, because the audit guys, I think it's two guys, because I usually do like one voice or another.
For voices.
I like that they grade.
They do grade.
The citizen and the officers, because they grade the citizens based on whether or not they accurately interpreted their rights, or even if they failed to assert certain rights. So, like somebody maybe did all the right things, but maybe they forgot that they could have done this other thing. They'll put them down a grade for that. They'll give them like a B plus instead of an A. They'll say, yeah, but they,
mostly it's like a C.
Huh?
Mostly it's like a C.
Usually it's like a C.
Yeah.
Or if they've misinterpreted their rights or whatever.
That's one.
Yeah. So what I like is that they do grade the people that are auditing, and then they give them kind of like tips, like, hey, if you're gonna keep doing this, just remember to consider these things where you're at or wherever, because municipality codes as well, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, and they're like, basically he breaks down. Sometimes he goes like, if this is the hill you want to die on,
yeah,
you may be in the right, but you're just gonna end up arguing and shit.
And then it seems like they promote to not to be difficult, but don't just open yourself up either. During like a traffic stop or whatever, just do the minimum what you're required to do, and if they push it, then
this is where your rights are. And it's also about time too, because it's like the longer you are talking to an officer, the longer like like the more trouble you can get into, because they can.
Yeah, the more you say, the longer you're there. Oh man, what is it? Los Angeles. You hear the plane?
Yeah, I heard the plane.
Oh, my bad.
There's no way for you to get that out. It just isn't.
Okay, sorry. In Los Angeles, the cops. It just came out this morning. I didn't get a chance to like dive into it 100%. But so the police officers in Los Angeles, they get paid a bonus, almost like a commission, for each interaction they have with a gang member. So they got caught labeling all their interactions with minorities as gang interactions. And so, like, let's say you got pulled over and they ended up talking to you for 10 minutes. They put, you know, blah, 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 Ken Bayless, you know, gang affiliated, stop. And then you go. That's on your shit. So the next cop that stops you is gonna say, hey, you got stopped and it was like a gang affiliated stop, you know? So this is like a precedence now that they're setting against you.
Yeah.
And it was for money. So they're incentivizing police officers to not just was it stereotype or whatever, but to reinforce the stereotype and criminalize people that aren't criminals.
I believe it. It's
I gotta jump into it. But yeah, there's
probably hazard pay for meeting a gang member because you might get killed or some shit like that.
yeah, probably just to get them to not avoid the rough spots.
Yeah, and so inadvertently, you're just like, well, shit, this white lady named Sharon, she's a gang member from the El Blanca gang. Some shit like that.
Yeah, well, the thing is, they said that they were targeting minorities.
Yeah, oh, I hear you, but like, I mean,
which also sucks because that shit's on your.
well, you're in LA, you know, so like everyone's Mexican, you know, like so like it wouldn't be too hard, you know.
Depends on what part of town you're in. You could be Korean, you could be Chinese, you could be.
Yeah, but you just go to quinceañeras and shit like that. You guys are too loud. Gang members everywhere.
I think everybody's Mexican there. I think you're right, no matter what their color is.
You just go into the fucking park. You're done. Michigan. Hey, hold on. I gotta check up on my kid. He was getting all right about the whole. He couldn't get the Alexa to work, and he was playing music while he was sleeping. You know, and he was just like, "I can't get music to work."
First world problems.
Definitely. Like, I don't like fish. Salmon's not so good. I'm like,
you. That like the Dave Chappelle when he's talking about when he gets home to his kid. He got home to his kid, and his kid is like he's eating. His kid was eating dinner, and then his kid runs to him like to give him a hug, and he's got like like grease all over his hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dave Chappelle's like, hey, watch the threads. I don't want you to get chicken grease all over him. And his kid's like, chicken? Dad, this is duck. And Dave Chappelle said that he almost cried because he was like, man, I never thought I'd be able to be in a position where my kid's just like slathered up in duck grease.
I know, right? And I'm like, wait, duck? That sounds good. So we were talking about audit the audit. And I seen one. Okay, forget audit the audit though. We'll come back to that. And then like so my YouTube, because I watched like hours of audit the audit, it got some. It started feeding me like suggestions, right? And then it turns out in 2014, Fox News. I don't think Fox, not Fox News, but Fox the channel.
Okay.
Had some, I don't know. Fox 16, I don't know where they were at,
Some local station, yeah.
Yeah, well, they did an expose on this Tennessee highway, the stretch of highway. So what they were doing was in 2014, and it was like 5 videos of it. It's really good. They were it was a drug task force, and what happens is they would pull over people with license plates that weren't from Tennessee, and they would just search, and they would get what they needed. It was a drug task force. So like basically, so if you're going into Tennessee and you're trying to buy a car, because the internet exists, right?
Right.
So some people take cash for these events. So if you have a certain amount of cash on you, they can confiscate it. And for you to get that cash back, you have to pay a fine or a fee of some sort, and then you can get your cash back. That's if you're gonna do that. So you have to pay $1,000 to get your own money back.
Fuck.
And they would just do this constantly. And they were showing like that. Okay, so they had so they can't just they can't go in your car. It's against the Constitution, but unless they have a reason to. So they would try these tactics. Like for instance, they had this husband and wife, right? And separate the wife and, hey, just come into my car. We'll talk out there. It's dangerous out here. Just to separate them, right?
Right.
And then he's all like, so like, we think that there may be drugs in that car. And then like, but there probably isn't. So if you just let us search in there, we'll it'll be faster. If not, we're gonna have to call the dogs. And what that means is like, and she's like, no, you can't just search her car. And then he goes, okay. So he gets the dog. This is taking hours, by the way.
Right.
And poor fucking couple. Their story is, and it's true, they went to a funeral. That's why they're going through Tennessee. They rented that car, and it has a different license plate, but whatever. So they get the dog, right, and they're going around in circles. And so here the people are right here. Here's the car, and here are they. And he signals to, like, he does it real quick, and the dog jumps up on the window of the car on the other side. And the guy that they pulled over, he is a highway patrolman himself from another state or something like that. And he goes, you signaled that dog. And then they're like, no, we didn't. The dog got an alert, so we're going to look in there now. And so they fucking tear that fucking thing up. Couldn't find it. On the report, because they went to a funeral, right? There's grass. They said that there was marijuana flakes on the floor. And that's how they justify the dog and the loss of hours searching his car. But that's how they got away with that one. And of course, the fucking couple weren't doing drugs. They fucking know they weren't doing drugs.
Right.
And they got this one guy who was trying to buy a car. And then when they actually questioned the police officers and shit. And they go, why didn't you tell them that, why did you do this with the dog? They were like, I don't know. They didn't know. And then there was one time he goes, how come on the report you said this versus that? And the guy was like, I don't know. Like, he caught him in a bull-faced lie. And he goes, oh, the report you said he was a drug dealer. Possibly. But, like, you didn't even write that they were coming back from a funeral or something like that. He goes, why didn't you write that? And then he goes, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. And then, like, I mean, there's 14 of these videos or 5 of these videos or some shit like that, right? And I thought to myself, what happened to those news places that do that? Why fuck am I finding this on YouTube? This happened fucking in 2014, okay? Like, the abuse of power from cops. This shit's in 2014. I'm not seeing that shit now. What I'm seeing is some guy's knee on someone's neck. It takes a knee on a neck to start this shit. But they've been abusive.
Looking at everything, yeah.
Yeah, but they've been abusive for a long time. And actual news companies before the advent of Trump actually did news. And I didn't know that was a thing. I just assumed the media was always shitty. But it looks like they were actually doing news at one time.
Yeah, I think the pessimism, a lot of it started in the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Walter Cronkite was probably one of the last, trusted news faces, that everybody kind of agreed on. And I think the problem now is just the radicalization of both sides. I was watching? Damn it! There's a study that this guy did. Look at it. I'm sorry, man. There's a study this guy did, and he was basically looking at right-wing media versus left-wing media, how radical the messaging is. And I forget how he used to attenuate like the level of, right or left. But the graphs that he was showing was that the left was kind of responding to the right. So before, they're both kind of tracking like this. And then the right kind of gets like radical. So these guys kind of got to do their thing to balance it out. And then what happens to the media as a result? So like the right does this, and then the left kind of tries to stay in the middle. And then the media kind of has to side with the left to add that extra bit of weight to balance it out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Was it when they're doing fact checking,
Yeah.
when they're calling out, lies or misleading statements.
Fact checking wasn't a real thing until Trump said, and I remember this because I remember before Trump, I never heard of fact checking. But then as soon as Trump said fake news, like out of nowhere, he just
They,
then fake
you know
news.
what? They started doing it. I remember like starting to hear it around Bush.
Oh yeah.
And it mainly came out of the whole push to go into Iraq. And so after that whole thing with Colin Powell going in there and getting everybody to go, they starting to look at all the things that were being said. And that was the first time that I started hearing fact checking.
Well, no, I get you on that terminology, but I mean, in the news, it didn't become a.
Oh yeah.
Like, okay, so there was like whenever there was a debate, you wouldn't have the fact checking after the fact.
Right.
As soon as Trump fucking initiated war by saying, "Yeah, you guys are fake news. CNN is fake news," it then became fucking fire, dude. Everyone's like, well, actually, just CNN fact checks. I don't think Fox News fact checks that much. They come up with their facts, but they're not fact checking.
Yeah, I haven't seen much fact checking on Fox.
No,
I do watch some Fox.
I do watch Fox, and then they don't fact check per se. What they do is have other facts.
Yeah, alternative facts.
You beat me to the words. I was literally gonna say that. Yeah. No, I'm not saying that. Like, it's weird too. It's because like, okay, so you would say, so the answer to the question is, chocolate is good for all mankind. So you have the two people talking, right? And you Democrats would say something like, chocolate is good. And then Republicans would be, well, what about the price of chocolate in Asia? You see, this Asian market right here is lending itself to slavery. And that may be a thing that has nothing to do with chocolate's good for all mankind. You know what I mean? And you can then make justifications for it.
Well, there's whataboutism too. When they can't dispute a fact.
Yeah. When you get a knee on the neck, then you say, but what about his past?
Well, I mean, Trump just did an awesome one. They said, hey, what? They asked him a question about police brutality against minorities, and then he said, but they're also doing it to white people.
Yeah, that's
like
he said that. I thought about our conversations.
No, he said that shit.
No, I know when he said that.
Oh, okay.
Our conversations, because we broke that down in an earlier podcast with yes, there are more white people. But percentage-wise, there's more black people getting fucked over. And it's not because it's happening to white people more. I mean, like, I guess, like, if there was more black people, then that fucking percentage would be crazy.
Well, Trevor Noah was like, well, let's put aside, okay, he's kind of making a case for defunding the police. Because it almost sounded like he was upset that it's happening not just to minorities, but to white people too. It's happening to everybody.
It is. No, you know what? But it is, And then, like,
yeah, it is. He's overlooking the whole ratios idea, right?
Of course.
But
that as in, like, our people are getting fucked over too, so.
But Trevor knows, like, hopefully he follows that logic to the real idea behind defunding the police, which isn't just to eliminate police.
Yeah.
It's just
divesting.
Let's set up a system where we don't need to spend so much money on police.
But that's an unrealistic thing. When they say defund the police, that's a bad idea. Only because the system itself is broken. So defunding it wouldn't make it so like, oh yeah, totally, they're going to defund and then invest. They wouldn't do anything. They would take the less amount of money that they have and just fund themselves. And it's not the cops on the street who are actually doing the bad. It's the fucking administration that get paid the most. The actual cop that's doing the shit is probably not getting paid that much for the shit that he's doing,
Yeah.
He or she, And then so defunding the police, I always thought was a bad idea. It should break the whole fucking system.
I think the term was terrible.
Yeah.
Because was it the Trump campaign just came out with an ad where it was like defund the police. They want to get rid of the police, and then there's a phone call. Yeah. It's like, phone call. It's like, we're sorry, there's nobody here to take your call because the police have been defunded.
Yeah.
Press 1 for rape. Press 2 for murder. Press 3. I'm like, That's not what it is. But they're trying to scare the shit out of people into thinking that that's what it is.
But though I think though, if you did defund the police, right, and then put the money back into the community, I still think that won't fix anything because you still have the police that still do the things that they do.
Well. Here's what needs to happen.
Training.
It's not like this is where police spending is at, and here's where community spending is at. Let's do this. It needs to be this.
Yeah.
You know, community spending has to come up. We're gonna have to overspend on both for a little while, and then like new hires will probably start decreasing. The number of people going through like police academy and this and that. Probably not as many trainees and recruits coming through, and then eventually get it down to a level where we're spending this much, but now it's here, and we're not over policing people and not putting police in a position where I understand why they're stereotyping. It's almost like a survival tool.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, it doesn't. The stereotyping is because it sounds racist.
Yeah, I know. It does. It doesn't sound right. I
people doing crime.
I don't agree with it, right? Because
what happens
you're supposed to look at it objectively.
Yeah.
But I think they develop it as a way to protect themselves and defend themselves.
I can guarantee this: any human being, well, other than fighters maybe, but you, me, any liberal that says defund the police, if you put them in the job, they would do worse than what the police do. I mean, that's just a habit. I mean, that's just gonna happen. I mean, like fucking.
It's a tough job, man.
It is. You get 9 out of 10 people they fuck with are probably fucked up and starting shit. So they get to a point where like, cut the shit. We're doing this, And I think you only have 2 options. One, put more money into the police, in the training, I should say, not the administration. And just constantly have training, like always, like if you work 4 hours, or 4 shifts or whatever, like every week, a day is dedicated to training. They don't have that. And then,
or mental health. We talked about this one time. Mental health, just like, all right, we're gonna ask you some questions. We're gonna show you some pictures, and
no, I think training
will flip out.
Train a person out of the situation of like here's an essay fucking in their face, and they're just like get trained for that, and then just have like a normal person who's not an essay who gets all fucking crazy with them, and because he's just tired of being persecuted, and you're supposed to be understanding. I don't know. Actual training, I think, is the way to go. Yeah. But if not, I think the cheaper way would be cameras everywhere and release as soon
having those body in the audit having those body cams in a lot of them was
when they go like this when they put it over the thing.
Yeah.
Fucking try to hide it, and I was like, that's pretty fucking shady, right? Yeah. The ability to turn it off. There should be a bathroom mode. Like if you go to the bathroom, but you should never be able to turn it off.
Because, it's like, why did you turn it off in the street?
Yeah, because there's I saw this one. I don't know if it's audit the audit, but it was like they killed the kid. Maybe it was audit the audit. So they chasing down this 15-year-old on a ATV. And they hit him. He flies off. He's dead. And everyone starts turning their cameras off except for this one little white girl. I'm just guessing. She turns the shit on and she's recording everything. Like that shit's going on. And they're like, fuck that piece of shit. Fuck him. And they're just being shitty about what they just did. They just murdered a child. And they're just like, fuck him. He's a piece of shit. He thinks he's a man. He's going to die like a man. Like that kind of shit. And then that guy he went to jail. I mean, and then like, and he wasn't even there. He was just a supervisor on site. He was a black guy too. So it wasn't like a racial thing,
Yeah.
And that which brings credence to like when people are like, the police are racist and things like that. I don't think the police inherently is racist. I think they're just fucked up. The system itself. It's not like a bunch of white cops. The system itself.
I don't think there's enough accountability, so they think they can get away with things.
Mm-hmm.
But they get used to getting away with things, and they start thinking that it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because
they just lynch all the time.
Yeah, and then you get the blue wall or the blue line or whatever it is. The code of brotherhood or whatever, and they'll defend their own. even when they know they shouldn't, you know. And that's why I like some of those audit the audit ones. I like when the supervisor shows up and he's like, "Hey, you're messing up," you know.
Yeah,
Take those handcuffs off and let him go.
those are rare. You know how I know?
Those are rare.
Because I was looking for. I saw one where it was the guy who was recording the old people's home.
Yeah.
The lady goes after him, and then the guy comes in and he's like, "Wait, what's happening? Okay, this is happening. All right, you can go." And he goes, "No, you're wrong. You can't do this." And he starts explaining. Then I got addicted to that, and then I started looking around. Couldn't fucking find it. That was like one of like a few videos.
Yeah, they're rare, but yeah.
I like the idea of them backing each other up like that. Like not backing each other up, but like as in like they pull a person aside and say, "Hey, look, man, this shit ain't, the optics don't look right." And I'm like, oh man, dude, if only that happened with Floyd. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's another one. African American guy. He goes to school and then they have one of those like dorms that are kind of like off site a little bit.
He was taking off.
I think that was one where some other officers showed up and they were like, this and this and this is what happened. That's it.
Really? Remember when they said the words that would have got him killed? He has a blunt. He has the picker. The guy.
Yeah.
He has a blunt object in it.
Well, I think that guy got dismissed. I don't think he's a cop anymore.
Fuck, I hope.
He'd been a cop for like a month or something.
Fuck, I hope. I actually looked into some of these, like Officer Smiley, you know, because it is a name I can remember. And he was being a dick. I can't remember what, though, because it was when I first started watching it. And then I looked it up and he got fired. I was like, yes.
That one does ring a bell.
Yeah.
So the one where the guy flipped off the cop and then the cop went and confronted him.
I didn't see that.
So the cop went and confronted him and then ended up taking the guy back to his car, went and talked to his wife. Then when the other officer showed up, he straight up lied and said that he refused to give him his name. Like flat out lied, you know? And I was just like, ooh, shit. Yeah. I don't know what happened to that one.
It makes sense that cops would do that. They cover their own asses. I mean, like in any job you've ever been in your life, there's always a lot of people who don't take accountability. And they kind of lie. They blatantly lie. Like when I was younger, you would see people like this, but you wouldn't really know. But then when you get older, and I would call it an awakening, right? It's when you start paying attention to things, and you're like, you were okay. For instance, at my old job, the front lady, she did something where the patient was waiting for an hour, and I go, well, you didn't tell us the patient was in there. You didn't mark them here ready. We don't know because we're back here. You're in the front. And then she goes, well, I did mark it ready. And I'm like, then why didn't we get the patient? I was like shooting the shit and everything. I mean, like, I'm just waiting for the words ready, you know. So how is it that there was like 4 of us, you know? You couldn't come and get us? I mean, what happened? And then she goes, well, I marked it ready. And I knew that she was lying. I knew she was lying. And I was just like, this is a thing in which people do. And this is everywhere. Everywhere I've ever worked, there's always been like liars. And here you got the cops. The cops, you know, like, believe it or not, is the same thing as any other workforce. You probably got that like 10% that are good. And the other 90% are probably shitty. They're probably shitty at their job. And people go, why aren't these? And they point to statistics. They go, why if I look there and there's less deaths? And no. Maybe there's over 100,000 million interactions and maybe 10% are okay, and then you guys are squashing all the complaints. You know?
Yeah.
Like, because cops are, not all cops, but most cops can be dicks because they have that power. That's the only thing that makes them dicks. They have that power over you.
Yeah, there was one where the guy went in and asked about a complaint form, and the sheriff or the deputy, whoever was in there, was like, well, we don't have a form per se, but you could tell me. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Like, the guy goes, yeah, but then, you know, would I have a receipt or would I have a way of, you know, being informed about, you know, what the response to it was or how it was responded to or whatever, you know, what came out of it. He goes, well, we don't really have like a system for that. You know, we're working on it, but you could tell me who it is.
Realistically, I think that if you did have a system where I make a complaint to Bob, right? he would file it, and then he would then turn it into, it was reviewed, and we found nothing to be wrong. We investigated it ourselves, and we thought it was all right. I mean, what needs to happen is they need to have it, like, I don't know, bump up IA or something like that,
Yeah.
you know? Like have an IA rep on site, and their sole fucking purpose is to fuck you, you know, as a cop. Because that's what cops are here for. They're here to fuck you.
And to have them rotate too, because they can't stay in the same department for too long.
Yeah, because they'd be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, constantly rotating. That'd be kind of hard to do, though, right? Because
You can find a way, man.
yeah, because it within the district, just keep rotating through the district so you don't make friends, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't have like guy in California then moving to Texas and then just keep moving them. That'd be kind of fucked up, right? Yeah, I guess so. Well, then I guess so. Yeah, just create a fucking like a training program to audit these fucking guys all the time, just constantly coming after them. You know,
within a county, I think within a county would be good.
No, I think each district. No, because like I think that I really do believe. Now this is where we're getting off, you know, off statistics and everything. This is where we're gonna you and me conspiracy theory. But I mean, like in my fucking gut, I feel that you have say one police district, right, and say 90% of their interactions are probably fucked up in some way. Just like when they always they're pulled, there's always someone speeding. There's always crime out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you generally know this, but they're not getting them. You know, because they couldn't actually get them. But I really do think that every police interaction, you know, they're fucking with your rights. You know, and they have the ability to do that, and they can back each other up in that way.
Yeah.
I mean, like when that guy put his knee on that fucking dude, he did it with impunity. He knew he can get away with it, you know. And it was that one motherfucker. Fuck him. I don't really care about the guy I mean, like fuck him. He'll get his due, and then there's hell, you know. But the other people were letting it happen, and so on and so forth. And then there was like a whole. I mean, shit, dude. That guy might actually get off of trial. Like he might go to trial, and he might get away with it.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of that goes on. I think Audit also did a breakdown of the Arbory.
I know they did. It was like 23 minutes. I didn't look at it though. It was 23
But that's another one where nothing would have happened if the video hadn't come out. And I think George Floyd, I think it would have been the same way too.
Actually, you know what? I did in a drunken it's coming back to me as I drink. It's coming back to me. I did watch the Aubrey Marcus one. I feel bad that we talked about it. You know what I mean? Before watching that. But well, you know what's funny is most of it was right. That dude did go to the site, you know, and there was robberies. What they did was wrong though, you know, chasing.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It was wrong.
What they did was wrong, but everyone was wrong, you know. But they were more wrong because they killed a person.
They escalated. You know, he did one of these things, and they decided to go here.
Which they don't have the right to do.
No, they don't.
Cops shouldn't escalate. They were just normal civilians.
But then I think in that video, they broke down that the guy had worked for the DA's office in that town, and they're the ones that decide who gets prosecuted. And they basically said, hey, just never mind.
Like even more is like he was a cop, but he wasn't because he didn't pass some kind of a test. They just let him retire.
Right.
And I was like, and it was like it was funny because this is the beginning of the audit.
It was the weapons test.
The weapons test or some shit like that. What is the odds of that? You know, the irony of that. And then there was one more little correlation to that. There was so what happens is they protected him,
mm-hmm.
right? They didn't until that's what happened. The lawyer leaked the video because he thought that exonerated his crew, and that actually made it worse because everyone's like, "What the fuck is this?"
When I heard that, it got me thinking. I'm like, these people really didn't see a problem with what they were doing.
Exactly, and that's
I think that's
talking about.
I think that's ingrained racism, where you don't see it as racist. You know, you don't think it. You hear that racism. Oh, that's a bad thing, but that's what I did. That's what my grandpappy taught me how to treat people. That's always been the way that I've guided my decisions. This is my value system. How can it be bad?
I don't think it's racist. I think it was oppressive. But what they were doing was thinking, I have power over you. And
That too.
my power supersedes your rights, and see me exerting my power, I'm right, obviously.
Yeah.
And they were wrong. And I think this is what this whole thing is with cops and everything like that. I think it's power over people. And you got drunk with it and you thought to yourself, I'm right for doing this shit,
Right.
and then you just back up this whole perpetual loop of this is why I'm right. Which I see a lot in a lot of Republicans. They just pull this shit where they're just like, yeah, I'm totally fucking right. Yeah. And the reason why I'm right is because fucking 5G, coronavirus, things like that.
Well, right now they're pro-choice, but on masks.
It's funny you should say that. There was a guy, he puts on, and this makes sense, right? So he puts this mask on. He puts 5 of them, and he puts a pulse ox on them. And the one that beeps, they're very fucking annoying. And he shows that his oxygen never goes down while he's wearing 5 masks, which is a pretty simple thing to do. And I remember reading it, but I didn't really see it. And I saw the video. I'm like, oh, he's putting 5 masks on. He's got a pulse ox. That shit, you're around 95, 98, maybe 100, who knows. And then he's breathing, and it never really goes down because you can breathe normally. And that's a common thing with these masks. We're like, oh, you can't fucking breathe in this. And then I saw this one Republican chick that I know. She was like, well, that was fucking fuck. It was fuck. It was fake news because it was debunked by this fucking internet site that I got. And that's a weird thing because they just like Google, how am I right? But not really with those. Yeah. But it's like, say I think Earth's flat. Why is the Earth flat? And that's why they fucking Google that. And that makes them right, And you can argue with people like that too. You'd be like, no, you don't understand. That's the truth. I mean, you wear pulse ox, you get oxygen in, you're good. You're oxygenated. You're good. It's all in your head with this whole. And I fucking hate wearing the masks. I'm not the mask, but I fucking get it, right? I mean,
yeah. I hate wearing the mask.
But it fucking works.
Do it.
It fucking works. And it works to stop the spreading, and I think that what's happening now is like it's become an ideology in which you're just like,
why should it? It's like stopping at a red light. Oh, fuck that violates my rights. I'm gonna go, I don't care what color it is.
I saw the governor of Florida argue that with some lady on CNN. You see that?
No, that fucking guy, he was the one out there kind of like yelling at the reporters, saying, you all said we're going to be like New York. You all said we're going to be like all these places that are having all kinds of outbreaks and stuff. You said in 2 weeks, watch, Florida's going to be exactly like everybody else. We're 8 weeks into this, and they're shutting down.
Yeah. Well, someone probably higher up was like, look, motherfucker, close that shit down.
That's the governor of Florida. He's the president of Florida.
No, I know that, but I'm pretty sure that higher up, like the actual politics, like, look, I don't give a fuck if you're the governor. If you want to be elected again, you're fucking done if you don't fucking close. That's probably how it happens, because they're just like, I don't care about your ideology. And that's a weird thing. You'll never know that because the governor does have that right to close and open at will, but I'm pretty.
He's a Republican governor, and I'm seeing a trend right now. A lot of Republicans that are up for election in November are kind of starting to go towards the middle. But not jump over the line, but they're starting to move, in a more responsible direction where they're kind of considering everything.
But that guy in particular, though, I was listening to him argue, and he made some good points. He goes, well, the statistics you're looking up at are the ones in which people are getting infected. We're not looking at how many people were dead, the fatalities, which is important. That's the data metric you want to know. And then ICUs. Those are the 2 data metrics you want to know in regards to this, not how many people are getting it, because it's a very survivable thing. And I thought that was a good thing to say. And then the reporter was all like, So you're saying people getting it isn't a big deal? And I'm just like, wait, you're not. Well, I hate when people do that. When someone brings up a point of value, you kind of gaff at it rather than attack it. You know?
See, but I'm willing to bet this is a more recent thing that he said, right?
Yeah, it was on the news. It was on It's like
yeah, because when he was in the shit, he was saying all kinds of stupid shit.
yeah.
But I think as he's getting closer and he's starting to see, especially in the polls, it's like, oh shit, people they like logic and they like science and they like facts and numbers.
He was using talking points, and I see this a lot on Facebook with these Republican what do you call armchair quarterback kind of like Republicans. They don't really know what the fuck they're saying. They're just using talking points of other people that are smart that said it, that can actually articulate their point. But because they have no understanding of what they're talking about, they just like repeat what the fuck some guy said and then just regurgitate it out as if it was their fucking thing, which sounds kind of stupid. You know?
I'm trying to remember. It's because there's been so many things so fast. Something came out and it was going to look really bad for the Republicans, and it was information that the White House had, and before they shared it with both sides, they shared it just with the Republicans first, so that they can kind of game plan it, game plan the response. I don't remember if it was the CDC numbers that were coming out, or if it was what was the thing that Trump got caught doing?
Drugs?
No, there was a deal that he was making with a foreign country. He was asking China to do something or to buy something and saying, I need to get reelected, so I need you to do this for me.
Wow. Another quid pro quo. It's hard to
something like that, but more for like a political purpose. It wasn't like a, hey, I want you to do this because it'll help the economy or whatever. It was more like, I want you to do this because I need to get reelected.
Just hook me up.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's just a favorite.
That came out. I think that's what it was. It was one of the fucking things that come out every other day, right? And before that got shared out to everybody, he shared it with, a group of Republicans first, so that they can get the talking points, done. And then that's what you started hearing all morning. Then the Democrats saw this stuff. Then they got a chance to game plan, but by then, 6 hours had passed, and the Republicans had already got their message out, right?
That's crazy that they do that. I didn't know that was a thing. But then, you know what? Like, this is how you know the game's rigged. They killed some fucking guy, and then the Republicans and Democrats go in a room to see if it was worthy of killing this guy.
Oh, Soleimani.
Yeah, and then they come back out, and you have literally down the middle, oh, yeah, it was a good thing. Oh, yeah, it was a bad thing. I'm like, wait, what the fuck just happened? Like, I mean, why did you guys go back onto your sides? And then same thing with this COVID-19, which is fucking weird, where it's, if I'm Republican, I'm anti-mask. And then if I'm Democrat, I'm pro-mask,
But here's the problem with that. So you just talked about two cases. Is it that the Republicans were equally right as the Democrats, and each side is just like going in their own political way, or was one truly incorrect in their assessment and the other one correct?
Then they would just agree with each other.
But they didn't.
Exactly.
So what happened there? Who is actually right?
Right? Then this is fucking rigged. This is all rigged.
And the mask thing, the problem with this, with the way that this is how everything's working now. This is how everything's working.
Yeah.
If the Republican Party says one thing, namely if Trump says one thing and you say something else, you're automatically a Democrat and a fascist, and you're a, what is it? They call them you're a socialist, you're a fascist. They just throw all the ists out there that scare the shit out of people, even if they don't really go together, like a socialist fascist. They throw all these things out there to demonize the opposite point of view, when really the opposite point of view kind of had a point.
Yeah.
But that gets lost because then it gets called radicalization.
Yeah.
The mask thing. Okay. If you're pro-mask, you're some evil Democrat. If you're if you're pro-choice for mask, you're a freedom-loving Republican.
Yeah.
Why is it defined that way?
Yeah.
Well, and if you put out research like you said, measuring oxygen intake, well, now you're an evil fucking Democrat. You just want to take away people's rights. Why did it turn into that?
Yeah, it's weird too because the people are looking to those people. I wish take Trump out of the equation, but they're looking towards the Republicans, Fox News, actually doing the right thing, and because Fox News is just like, what is their fan base? Well, they're anti-mask, so let's do this. And then you got your Democrats and they're pro-mask, and that's kind of a weird thing, right? Because if you have counter opposition to something that's logical, then when it happens on the other end, what do we do? Because now we're so Democrats are always right. Is that a thing?
No, that's where like when AOC comes in, says some crazy shit. It's like, okay, that's too far.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's you don't need to go that far to disprove the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you stick to your ideals and you stay center, in my case, if I stay center left, I think that's more where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
But to balance it out, you almost gotta. It's a tug of war. You almost gotta pull the other way.
You're not center left. I think you're a centrist. I see where you say center left because you do Trump bash, but I don't think that's like he lends himself to that, so that's okay.
Well, I don't Trump bash just to Trump bash.
Yeah, when he says things, the only time I've ever actually caught you actually saying some shit where I was like, okay, now we're just a little bit center left, is when you were like he wasn't like accomplished as a person, you know what I mean? Because he's accomplished quite a bit, and you were like anti-accomplishment, and then we kind of like butted heads on that. Remember? Long ago?
I don't remember that.
Oh,
I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, because you get the person, he's not making that much money. I'm all like, fuck, we all know about Trump. It's kind of like
successful, but yeah, I think
you were saying he wasn't successful, and then
I don't think he's as successful as he's tried to make himself out.
It doesn't matter. He's successful.
Yeah, money, whatever. Yeah, okay.
We're
president.
Successful as a person, the most fucking billionaires, if you think about it, because we're all talking about it 365 days out of the year for the last like 4 years. You know what I mean? Or 3 years at least, plus some days now this year. But I'm just saying, like, he is.
Well, I think he's successful the same way that somebody could be famous but infamous. You know what I'm saying? Because by that same thing, you could say Hitler was successful.
Well, shit, but he's dead.
Yeah, but he got everything done that he wanted to do, or at least a lot of it.
But he's dead. He killed himself. That's how that ended. See, Trump's still old. He's going to end up riding out into the sunset. You know what I mean?
We don't know that.
Oh, you think he's going to get suicided or something? Or
no, man. You know what? I watched that Epstein documentary that you told me to watch.
Did? Oh.
Man, that was good.
Did you notice something, though? Like, this is when my conspiracy brain clicked in.
What's up?
Focused only on him mostly.
Yeah.
It was him. You thought, I know you were, because I was thinking it too. When are they going to start linking it to the people that were going there? It wasn't just him in an island by himself. He was trafficking. He literally got in trouble for sex trafficking. To have sex trafficking, guess what you have to have? Clients. And then who are your clients? All these rich people. There's a laundry list of that shit. And then he dies. And they kind of glossed over that. So in a weird way, how he dies, right? Cameras shut off and shit.
Yeah, they insinuated that the facility he was in was pretty shoddy, anyways.
Yeah.
There's a lot more there. I think you're right. I'm wondering if Netflix maybe didn't have the balls to go in that direction. Maybe the original. Maybe there's a cut. A Snyder cut. Of this one that
who did this documentary? You know what I mean? Like, because me personally, I watch a lot of these Netflix documentaries, and they do this thing where they go one way, then another, then back another way, and like it's like so in depth. But then you got this one, right, where here's like the biggest fucking. So he rapes kids. That is tons of people. What made him famous? The fact that he had an island where people
Yeah.
that rich that came there and fucked. And you had this whole documentary that didn't talk about that. That's like having an O.J. Simpson documentary and not talking about the murder.
Right.
With you just kind of gloss. And then you got to do something.
The last episode kind of got into it.
Kind of.
The girl that ended up going to Australia. You know, it seems like she's been trying to bring the fight.
Yeah, she's bringing the fight to what? Epstein's estate. You know, like a lot of the people that are coming after him, even in his grave, are people who are just after him. I'm not hearing, and it's weird because, like, what about all the other people in the videotapes? The videotapes. There's videotapes. He recorded everything to blackmail people. Why isn't that a thing? You would think that'd be in the documentary. It's like, man, like, let's do a documentary on Mike Tyson, but not talk about boxing. I mean, like, that's the thing that made him famous.
I think they might have more evidence that they might have been asked not to share.
Yeah, because they got that one lady who's not suicided herself yet. I wrote her name down. It's
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell. They caught her.
Ghislaine.
Yeah, it's G-H-I-S.
Yeah, Ghislaine.
Ghislaine.
Ghislaine or something like that.
Maxwell.
They try to say it. They try to make it sound pretty, but it's like, then why is it spelled like that?
Well,
whatever. Yeah,
think she's gonna kill herself?
I think whoever I after watching that, I'm like, this dude did not fucking kill himself. After I watched that, I'm like, this dude did not fucking kill himself.
That documentary didn't give much into the conspiracy. It gave more about how he's a piece of shit. Which, okay, I'm not trying to do whataboutism. That guy was a piece of shit. But shit, dude, he sex trafficked. That is what he got arrested for. Trafficking. Who was his clients? Just low-level people? Like, he just went some guy from San Jose.
The problem was the defense, not the defense attorney, the DA, the district attorney, that was in charge of prosecuting him and ended up making that deal with him for, I think he was in prison for like a year, but he got those work furloughs.
Not the second offense where he got killed, but the first offense.
The first one. Well, because what happened was that DA gave him that sweetheart deal, and that DA was gonna get moved to part of Trump's cabinet, and then all this shit came out. He was part of Trump's cabinet, but then he resigned after this other shit came out about Epstein's estate, right?
But
about Epstein's,
as in, like, look, motherfucker, you'd resign.
Yeah, because it was coming out, and they were asking him at all the press conferences, like, "Hey, what's up with this? You know, this deal, it's unheard of. He had work furloughs, he had this, and that, blah blah blah," and they kept hitting him over the head with it. And then finally, he said, "You know what? I think the Supreme Court decision came up that said that they had violated the victims' rights because the victims did not have a chance to make a statement or hear what the prosecutor's terms were in the plea deal." And so they basically threw out that deal, and Epstein was open again for prosecution. So that's why the former DA had to resign, because he was in the crosshairs again all of a sudden. He was like, why did you make this deal? You know,
Yeah.
Never heard of this shit before.
Yeah, it's pretty shady. A lot of that stuff's shady. He didn't kill himself. He was murdered. And this lady is going to roll over. And she's either going to get killed or a nuclear bomb's going to hit.
And that's where I was going. That's where I was going with it. I don't, whoever it was that orchestrated the Epstein one, they're like, damn, we can't do it again because it's going to be pretty obvious, you know?
Oh, the way they murdered him was pretty fucking obvious. You know what I mean? Like, as in, I mean, the cameras are out, and then, like,
well, supposedly he didn't even hang himself from, like, an elevation. Like, he tied himself up and then kind of, like, slumped down.
Yeah, and then he kind of, like, pushed himself to the point where it broke his...
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is through strangulation. It's like that the wound, the autopsy proves that he was strangled. Like, or if I hold a rope around your neck and I push you like that, and
Yeah.
but for a 70-year-old man to get that much force, because it's like I forgot the number, but the amount of force for him to do that he couldn't physically do that, and whatever on that.
And then I think with the strangulation, I think at some point your instinct of self-preservation might kick in and just like, you know.
Would have passed out to have.
Oh, he would have passed out, yeah.
Yeah, but if he was hanging from the ceiling, then that takes the human equation out.
Yeah.
To choke yourself, to break your hiatal bone, to break your own, to break your bone, you know, the bone, like a bone in your fucking neck. It's not an easy thing to do, you know. So it looks more like someone kind of just either pulled his legs so he could, you know, I don't know. But yeah, he was murdered. And this Giselle lady, she's okay, so there's theory. My conspiracy theory is this. He kills himself, right? And FBI or whoever knows this shit, knows he was murdered. Why didn't they get her from the beginning? They didn't, because they wanted to let her go in the wind and then like collect evidence so that they can bring it back. And I think that's why she's been put in, because now she's like, hey, look, I got this evidence for you here. And they're gonna build these cases and start arresting people like Prince Charles or whatever, like that Andrew guy, the guy who's like, yeah, we never huggy people. I never molested anybody.
I didn't molest her because I don't sweat.
Yeah. Obviously, because I've never sweat. It's a proven fact. You know, actually, I never sweat. Yeah, I remember that. It's funny. And then he goes, we never hugged. I never hugged people.
There's a fucking picture of him with her right here.
I never went to his house, but they had a birthday party in your name, and you were there.
Well, he's like, yeah, no, I didn't go upstairs. I was like, how do you know there was an upstairs?
Dude, he's fucking his dick got caught, you know. And there's all these other people too, so they're probably, I mean, that's what I would hope that's what the FBI does. They get the one person and then let them on the loose, like lure them out and then kind of reel them in, you know, and then get all these other people. So it's like a RICO thing or something like that. I would hope, because I mean, you don't sex traffic without have an island.
A better conspiracy is this.
After 20,
they didn't bring in Maxwell at first, hopefully to try and let time go by and kill her later before she could talk.
It's, you know, it's okay. Here's another
because you can't kill her like too close to Epstein getting killed, right?
It'd be weird, right?
Yeah. So I think they were like, let's try to wait this shit out. We'll fucking offer, you know, once everybody forgets about who she is. But then the show comes out, and it was like, why the fuck is she walking around? You have all these people saying that this shit went down, and that she was facilitating it. She was like
massaging girls. And
his fucking secretary, his sex secretary, you know.
Well, no, she also did the thing where she would massage them.
Yeah, she participated.
She'd there's a name for it, but yeah, she would help. She was like the bait, you know, or the bottom bitch, you know. And that's such a weird thing. Like, why would you do this? Why would you be the?
I just learned this new. Sorry, side note. I just learned this new phrase. I'd never heard about it before. Cave brother. So it was an honest trailer, and then it was like meet Sean Connery, who plays the dual role of father and cave brother to Indiana Jones. They both had sex with the same girl. They had both been in the same cave together.
That's man, that's a good one.
I know. I was like, that's a good one.
Dude, why haven't I ever seen that in pulp culture? You know, like
But it was just funny. Like he played in the dual roles of father and cave brother to Indiana Jones. And I was like, cave brother. I was like, oh, that's right. He had sex with that same girl. I was like, oh god.
man, for some reason I thought that was a gay thing, but man, I was way off, dude. Cave Brother is hilarious. I can't
That's fucking
use
funny.
that.
Huh?
I was like, I can't wait to use that term, but that'd be weird, right? Because I'm married. So, what's up, Cave Brother? I'm like, wait, oh, that's fucked up. Yeah. So this lady's gonna die. I mean, there's a lot of conspiracy theories around.
Can't stay alive.
Yeah, but you don't think they could kill her?
They'll find a way. They'll do it.
Yeah.
Because that's where they're gonna do their cost benefit analysis. Okay, on the one side, she's gonna sing to save her own ass because she hasn't killed herself yet. So, but they gave her paper clothes. They did. They gave her paper clothes.
Yeah.
And so, okay, we can hope that she's gonna kill herself. She hasn't done it, so she's gonna just out us all, and we're all fucked. Or we can kill her and maybe get away with it. If we do it right, we'll get away with it, or people won't have enough evidence, and we'll get off. Or if anything, they'll look at us sideways, like, "Did you guys kill her? Didn't you? Well, she's dead, so we kind of can't go anywhere with this anyway. So it's done." I think they're gonna kill her.
The brutality and the forthrightness of it, like the way they killed Epstein was so in your face, like, yes, we murdered this guy and you guys don't even can't prove it. I think that's how bold they are. They put it out there like, look, we don't fucking care. We're killing her. So I think that they're gonna kill her and it'd be super fucking obvious,
And I think that would send a message to anybody else that knows anything. Hey, motherfucker, you better keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, because
we're brazen.
We kill people. It's like we had 32 cameras on her and they all went out for 1 hour.
Well, the other thing is it's Democrats and Republican figures that were there.
Yes, Trump.
Fucking lawyers to everybody on either side.
Yeah.
Oh, God, what was the name of the lawyer that girl that slept with the prince? She also said that she slept with the lawyer multiple times.
Wow.
Dershowitz. And he fucking said he was like trembling in the video. He's like, I didn't sleep with her, at all. I didn't do nothing with her, and I challenge her to come here and say to my face that she did that. Like shaky.
I don't blame him, but you know what? Let's nip this conversation in the butt. She's gonna die, or she's gonna rat. That's how it's gonna happen.
I think that girl. What about the girl that's coming out and saying who she slept with? I'd be worried about her. I'm not worried about Maxwell. I'm worried about some of the girls that are coming out.
With that though, you can just say she just fucks around. She's just trying to get money.
That's how they painted them.
Yeah,
they were prostitutes.
Sure, but not Maxwell. No. She's like, she's it. She says, "This is what we did." Everyone would go believe her. I think she has what it takes to get everyone got. But that's what
she knows where all the condoms are buried.
And also other than condoms filled with dog cum, they have cameras. Like, where do those videos go? Like, that's a real thing that happened. So either the FBI have it and they're just waiting so they can indict a bunch of fucking people and say, hey, look, this is the fucking footage. Yo, fuck it. And then do the little salt thing. See, gotcha. And Maxwell fucking confess. Fuck you guys. I don't care how rich you are. It makes a kind of sense that the FBI have videotapes of the fucking guys doing that and her as testimony to slam dunk it. Because if it's like, say, Prince Andrew or any other rich person, these are people who've escaped with raping kids for like the longest. Yeah. So the FBI are trying to get everything they can from the fucking tapes to an eyewitness. Right? This is a slam fucking dunk.
So yeah, I think the honest guys are trying to do that. That's what I think. I really do. They think they were waiting.
Yeah. They got her, they got the tapes, and then they'll fucking build a case and go for it. If they didn't have her, just the tapes, they knew that the argument would be, well, how do you know? This is a grainy film and this and that. And magnetic storm might hit the FBI headquarters or some shit like that. You know, these guys are that fucking rich, dude. Like, okay, how do we create magnets everywhere? Shit, the whole city just destroyed with magnets. You know, I mean, that's how far they're going. You know, that's my theory. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think the honest cops are trying to put a case together. But I'm willing to bet there's forces at work trying to undermine that shit.
Well, they got the fucking lady. Something's gonna give. Either she's dead or she rolls.
Well, that I think that forces their hand in either direction. I think it forces the FBI to either hurry up and develop the case faster before she gets killed, and it forces the other side to hurry up and kill her before she spills too much.
So the night of the trial, where they go to get her and they're gonna indict a bunch of people, that's when she dies. So they fucking know. Yeah, dude. Like, how did she kill herself? Well, a train hit her.
Train hit her.
But she was in a cell. I know.
A fucking train hit her. She thought she was in a dream, and she thought the only way to get out of it was to kill herself.
You don't know Freddy Krueger claws? You know that shit's real.
He hooked up with Leonardo DiCaprio and laid down in front of a train.
Yeah. Did you not see the spinning top? Fucking you should have fucking known. Like, what the fuck? I'd be afraid, dude. If they killed her like day of, I'm like, well, shit. I guess you can rape kids if you're rich. That's the way it is. Like,
well, then he had like naked, paintings and stuff all over his house. I mean, all that. It's not evidence, but it is. Those are like character witnesses, you know.
It's a profile.
Like you're saying, yeah, to build a profile, right? It's like, okay, you're saying you don't like sleeping with kids, but damn, these pictures look awfully young.
Yeah. You know what? I believe that he fucking raped kids. Duh.
Yeah.
It's the sex trafficking. Like, I thought episode 1 was more about like building him up, but I didn't know that they would keep on going with how fucking shitty he was.
Well, I didn't realize how strong their case was in Miami.
Oh yeah.
In Palm Beach.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like they had all this shit,
and he still got away. And that's why I think for Giselle, yeah, it's Giselle. That's what it is. For Giselle Maxwell, that's what the FBI were waiting on. They were waiting for her plus tapes because they have tapes. They have tapes. They were just like, they're going to dispute the tapes. They ain't going to dispute tapes and this fucking lady. And then the jury dies and her.
I liked when they're asking him questions about like, so do you like doing this and do you like doing that? And he's trying to play it off like, are you kidding me? Like, are you serious? And it's just like,
yeah. He's like, are you kidding me?
Like, are you serious?
How would you?
Or sometimes he would say like, oh, I'm sorry, could you repeat that again?
He's like, tell me more, and I'm just gonna take my pants off for fucking clarity, okay, guys?
Dude, I watched Devil's Advocate.
Oh, I love that movie.
And I remember watching it. I was really young. I was probably
when it came out in the 90s.
Yeah, and I didn't understand the part. I young, naive, whatever, where the girl's talking about it's the very beginning of the movie, and the student is on the stand, and she's going over.
It's like getting hard.
And he's reenacting it. That's the word I'm looking for. He's reenacting it with the table.
And then Keanu Reeves is like,
I thought it was a nervous reflex, but no, he's repeating what she's saying, but to the table.
Mm.
And I knew that Keanu had figured out that the dude was guilty, but I didn't really figure it out how back then.
Well, it's funny you should say that. We were younger at the time, but I had watched it when I was like later in age, and I kind of got it. But as you get older, you understand the depravity of people, and that's what that is. And when you're young, you understand things like bad rape,
right and wrong,
right and wrong.
Basic right and wrong.
Rape is a thing you kind of know, but you really don't know the actual ramifications of it. You know, all the baggage that it is. You just know it's bad. You know, and then when you get older, you're like, holy fuck, that guy was really fucked up. That was a great movie though, Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves. I really I looked down on Keanu Reeves in that movie because he was with Al Pacino, and so I thought to myself, I'm like, here we go, speed guy, you know.
He was good in that movie. I liked him.
No, he had like I usually judge a book by its cover, but I mean like Keanu Reeves is like fucking
Charlize Theron was good.
yeah.
Watching it this time, she annoyed me the first time I watched it, but watching it this time, I was like, I've seen people do that. You know?
Yeah.
They really think that they're seeing things and stuff, you know, and that's kind of how they look. That's, you know, and they swing from one side to the other.
Yeah, well,
And,
that's everywhere, right? And you know what? It's you know what's a weird thing? 90s movies are more prevalent now, in like early 2000s, are more prevalent now than they were then.
relevant.
Yeah, relevant. Yeah, you're right. Not prevalent because it's not on the forefront. But I mean, like, as in, yeah, you're right. Because like when you watch movies now, and it feels kind of woke and like passe. It's not really. They're not really trying to give you a message. They're trying to give you what they think is a message, right? They're not really the gravitas of that. But then you watch something from the 90s. Keep going back too, and those they have messages there that resonate through all time. You know what I mean? And like the same arguments that we've been having since forever. It feels like because I've been watching Star Trek, the original Star Trek, and they talk more. They're more articulate when they talk
Oh, yeah.
in those episodes, and a lot of the issue it's like there was a thought process. They would break it down, and we're still having those kinds of thoughts. Like there was an episode where there was a guy with black on one side and white on the other, and then there was the reverse. He had black on one side and white on the others. And then one guy, he was like Martin Luther King or Malcolm X-ish. He was like getting people to fucking be all on his cause. And they showed it, they demonstrated it as a thing without actually really commenting. It wasn't a comment. It was just him like getting people, yeah, we were oppressed thousands of years ago and it's still systemic and things like that. And I'm like, fuck, this is the 60s, by the way.
Yeah.
And then the other guy who's more, it's funny too, because the guy who's like, we've been oppressed, he was very, like he was very emotional, but he was very articulate. Like he used big words, but he was very emotional. I agree. Anyways, like, he was super emotional, but he was using big words to articulate his point. And it was like everything he talked was like big speech, kind of like, you know, Malcolm X. And then like the other guy, he was talking like very calm and composed, but like I am on the path of righteousness, you know, like this, like he was holier than thou. And then it ends up that their planet ends up destroying itself, right? And because of the war between the two, right. And they're the last people. And Kirk, what I like about Star Trek is they were on the outside looking in, and that's what I like about it because they weren't part of it. They were just showing it. You know what I mean? Like here you have this evolved race of people who have evolved past that kind of way of thinking, and they're just like, why are you guys still fighting? There's no reason to fight. You have no planet. And then they're like, they can't even understand it. They go to the planet to kill each other, and then somebody says something like, should we stop them? And they're trying to go to the planet, and Kirk's like, no, let them go. There's nowhere they can go. They're just gonna fight, and they're gonna end it. That's the way it is. And they go and kill themselves. That's what they go to do. They go to the planet, they die. You know, and I thought that was pretty cool because they changed instead of black and white. They're both black and white, different sides. And
Both.
Yeah, and then we're still having those arguments to this day. You know, like you have people who've did wrong. You know, back thousands of years, hundreds of years ago. You know what I mean? And we haven't changed. We're still fighting the same fights. It will never change. That's the way it is.
Yeah, they what they did in that episode, they took color out, you know.
Yeah.
It kind of showed how arbitrary it is.
Yeah.
Because as a viewer, you're like, what the fuck? You're not really that different, you know. Yeah. You're still painted all stupid. Mm-hmm. You know, you still look dumb having black on one side and white on the other. It's just the flip sides, but you guys basically look alike outside of that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? And anybody that's willing to kind of look at that and say, well, okay, I guess the same thing applies out here, right? You know, it's just skin color is pretty arbitrary at this point.
Yeah.
You know, way back, it kind of represented where you were from and whether or not you were an enemy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking about like in the Crusades times, you know.
Yeah.
But now, given, you know, how small the world has become and how more open to movement everybody is, I think skin color has become pretty arbitrary.
Yeah, and it's funny because the episode starts out with like the one. I guess he represents the black people because he's black on one side, on the right side. I guess I don't know. Whatever. He ends up stealing a shuttle, and he reasons the reason he stole the shuttle was because he's running away from an oppressive force. So that gives him the right to do that. So it's okay for him to do bad things. And Kirk is up on the level. He's like I don't care why you stole it. You stole it. So you're going to trial for it, and they're gonna figure it out. And then the other guy uses that. He goes, well, see, he fucking stole it. And he comes from a point of view of I'm oppressing this guy, and that's why he stole it. But he doesn't say that. He's just like he's a piece of shit. That's why he did that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool. And Kirk's like, I don't fucking care about you either. You can't take this guy. He's going to court for this. You know, so it's
Well, that's like that goes to the whole statues thing right now.
yeah.
You know, tearing down statues. Why? Because, you know, they're celebrating oppression. Okay, but there's a process that goes to this. You know, we have rules. We're not just mob rule.
It would be cool if we thought like that. It would be cool if we all just agreed and went through the process and got rid of the statues or put them in the museum or whatever. And like, man, I just wish we would go more towards Star Trek, and not like as in like transporters and free food for everyone. It's
Yeah.
the philosophy of thinking of we're out here to be better than we were yesterday. You know, we're trying to be. I'm not trying to get the captain's position because I want to get paid more. I want that position because that is the pinnacle of what I can be. You know, that's the best position. You know, and like what race? Why can you judge a person by the race? Or because you fuck this dude? How am I gonna care? That has no bearing on who you are. You know, I want to get there, but we will never get there because you got racist, of course. Then you got these other people who are racist without even knowing it, and most of them are on the side of righteousness. They're like, you guys, systemic racism is a thing, and you're a fucking racist for even thinking that way. And I'm like, you're keeping it there when you talk.
Yeah.
Listen to Morgan Freeman. He goes, how do you address me? He goes, I'm Morgan Freeman. You don't have to say Morgan Freeman, the black guy. You, Steve, the white guy. I'm Morgan Freeman. You're Steve. You know, and like that's it. That's where it should have been left. We should have left this conversation a year ago. Maybe 10. But we're still here. And like bringing it back to Devil's Advocate though, it's cool watching those kinds of movies. It feels like they actually had something they're doing and they're going somewhere with it. Now I feel like these movies nowadays are just about explosions. That's about it.
Well, I liked it too. It kind of reminded me of Breaking Bad a little bit in that you're with the main character, you're with Keanu Reeves' character, and you're kind of like at the beginning, you're like, well, it is his responsibility to represent, and do his job as a defense attorney, and it's the job of the prosecution to make sure that they're doing their job. If this dude really is a dirtbag, but you can object, on moral grounds and say, you know what, I'm not going to defend this guy because I can't.
It is cool though. They put it in the position. I think he even says it too. He even says, if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've seen it. He goes, if the good guys were right, then they would have a better offer.
Yes, he does say something like
he
that.
said something to that effect, and I was just like, that's pretty callous. But that's where we're at now, though. Sometimes people are just doing bad shit when they themselves, the people, can make the right choice. Rather than play with
not participate because maybe there's something wrong with the system if it allows that guy to get away with the thing that he did, right?
Yes.
It's like there's something wrong with the system there.
Yeah, and you have the moral, I don't know,
obligation. You kind of do
when
the right thing.
When the fucking guy puts his knee on the guy's throat, then you want to say, well, because he was a piece of shit or whatever the fuck. Whatever happened before that point, you're doing wrong at that point in time. You know what I mean? And then it was up to those people to do the right thing, and they didn't. And now they're just fucking reaffirming what they did. Yeah, what you did was right, bro. That's what we've done. We've divided ourselves. In a weird way. But anyone who sees that video, it doesn't say, what we're seeing here is murder. That's a tough sell.
The problem sometimes too with the moral obligation, and we talked about this before, it's like the cops kind of standing around, would there have been repercussions, if they had tackled them or done something, and then they would have said, no, there's a process, if you don't agree with another officer's actions, you're supposed to talk to him and this and that. Well, okay, what if he says, no, I'm going to fucking stay kneeling on this guy?
Yeah.
There's all these other, these hypotheticals. I mean, these what ifs, right? But it's like, I don't know, man. We want to do the right thing.
Well, we do. There is times.
But even as a bystander,
a person should have. You can't run in there.
That's the problem. Those people wanted to do the right thing, but they couldn't. They probably would have got shot.
Yeah, but a cop would have. That one, I don't think. Okay, all right. Joe, civilian, that person's dead. But as a cop, though, you might get fired, right? You might get, whatever. But you're not going to die. I mean. No, I hear you though. Like, I mean, I think back in my life. And there's situations where I was like, do I do the right thing? Well, the right thing's only going to get me in trouble. So just stick with everybody else. You know what I mean? Like kind of us versus them mentality. And I have to say, I mean, like you get to a point I think it's an awakening, a second awakening, I would call it, where you don't give a fucking, where you're just like, I'm going to do the right thing. And that's the way it's going to be. And that's a hard level to achieve. People think it's hard to get to a point in your life where you're like, let's see what's happening. And now I actively choosing to do the wrong thing or actively choosing to do the wrong thing. But then you get to that second point where what hill am I dying? This interaction between you and me that we're having right now is sort of a thing in which we're like, this is the right thing to do. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing that could get us in trouble if you clip it wrong or something like that. But we feel like it's not. We're not really harming each other. We are really attacking actual thoughts and processes that are happening. We feel that this is right. You know what I mean? Like if we felt that this was wrong, we probably wouldn't do it. But that we're at that level now. We're not actively like
going out of our way to.
We're not trying to shit on each other, and we're not trying to like get arrested. We're not trying to get shamed out of a comment. We know the repercussions of talking to each other and what that will happen. Like we could all lose our jobs. Like this is extreme shit. Like I really don't think that's gonna happen. But like for the conversations that we do have between in discussing the topics, if you want to fucking take that clip of what we said,
take it out of context,
that's the hill I'm going to die on. I'm with that. I'm good with that. I'll make that exception. That's where I am in life. You know what I mean? Like it used to be a time I could pass by something that's fucked up, and then just be like, I don't want to get the shit kicked out of me, or I don't want to stick up. This shit will not end well for me. But now you get to this age, and I'm like, I'm good with that. I've made peace. We're gonna stop this bad thing that's happening. You know what I mean? And now it's getting weird because now I'm like, fuck. I wish I could tell that guy not to put on his mask or not. Like, where I work, we have to tell people to put the mask on. And if they pulled that shit, we're like, how fucking dare you? I can't fucking breathe or whatever the fuck. I wish I was there because I would be able to handle it. I got some topics I wanted to bring up.
What's up?
So, I've been watching the Avengers, right? And not Avengers, the Marvel Universe in order, right?
Marvel Universe what?
The Marvel Universe, but in order. Like,
okay.
not chronological, but when they came out.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing that when you start from Iron Man, you work your way up, how non-progressive or how progressive it gets. You know what I mean? Like Iron Man starts out with strippers and shit like that.
Yeah.
Women are more damsels in distress. But when you hit Iron Man 3, that's when it starts to shift.
Yeah, because they gave Pepper powers all of a sudden.
Yeah, and then from then on, well, except for Thor 2, but from then on you get Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers, and stuff like that. It's women become less damsels in distress, and then it becomes more of an overcorrection.
I'm wondering if it's because Marvel, before they were like, the little engine that could, with Iron Man 1, and then as they started to get bigger, and the movies that they were making were starting to fill, the pop culture consciousness, the expectation became, okay, now you guys got to become more inclusive. Now you guys got to become more progressive. So many people are watching your movies and listening to what you guys are doing. You guys should use it. You have a voice,
Do you think it's like a chicken and egg because they got famous, then they had to be more progressive?
Yes.
I don't think so. I think it's the year that movies started coming out.
I don't know. You've had like feminism and civil rights for a while now,
No, I know that, but I'm saying like for when the movies started coming out, because I'm thinking Guardians of the Galaxy comes out in 2014, and then it was like from there women are just progressive, and I'm thinking it ramps up like progression. The progressive movement and the wokeness of things didn't really get big until like 2016. I'm telling you, like as soon as Trump became president,
it feels like it became a reaction to him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it wasn't just him. He was a catalyst for things, and then all of a sudden, left started growing in the right, and that's when things started becoming the way they are.
Yeah.
Because Captain Marvel comes out when I'm pretty sure the president Trump's around and shit. But it's kind of a weird thing watching the Marvel movies in succession, where it's like, like girls are like, oh shit, I need saving, and then they become a thing where they're like, yeah, they're fucking up dudes and shit.
What was like damn, I don't remember who did I think it was Filmento. Did the comparison between Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel. I know a lot of people did it, right?
Yeah.
But
Wonder Woman's good.
Huh?
Wonder Woman is so good, but then Captain Marvel,
it's good because she believes in the goodness of man, right? But not man as in like men. But
yeah.
Yes and no, because the time period that they put her in too, the guys are the ones making all the decisions, right?
Yeah.
So the way it looks, it's that she's pointing specifically at men. But she believes in the goodness of man and wants to find that and find the evil, the outside influence of evil that has infected it, to defeat it, and restore man to its goodness. Captain Marvel was different. It was like she came out with a chip on her shoulder, and there wasn't that kind of a story. It was almost like she is badass because she's a female this time. This superhero is a badass because they're female.
Yeah.
They went ahead and just kind of went overboard and gave her OP powers. Right?
I would have to watch that breakdown because Captain Marvel, like, it was weird because it was all in your face.
Yeah.
Because in the 90s, she goes in the 90s, right? She's a blockbuster and things like that. And, like, she's fucking up dudes because they're.
And they play No Doubt.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, don't beat me over the head with this.
When they played that song, I was like, this song isn't matching with what's going on right here.
And it does. You're right. It also doesn't go with it. The song's not about that.
Yeah, she goes, I'm just a girl. And I'm like, okay, you're just a girl. I got it. Well, what does that have to do with you newly? Like, because at that point, she goes through some kind of awakening process, right? Where she's like, I've been held back all my life. And now
I think they were just trying to put something that would juxtapose it. I think they were trying to be clever.
Because they're 90s music.
It comes out as dumb.
It did.
It just comes across as dumb. I was like,
well, it's because I think, okay, here's my theory. I think it's because it's the 90s, right? And they were trying to come up with a badass 90s song for a chick. And there wasn't, I don't think, I guess No Doubt's pretty famous. So they went with that. Like, there wasn't that many songs, like.
You know what? I have to go through my '90s catalog. They could have found another song.
Well, that's
I would have rather heard like Hole, like Celebrity Skin or something like that, because Hole was a badass band led by a female.
yeah.
They were coming out with some grungy badass rock.
Hole. There's
Hole,
no.
uh,
There's Hole, and there's No Doubt. No Doubt's like.
I like No Doubt. Now, don't get me wrong, I like No Doubt, but that song was a little bit too
Oh no.
on the nose with what they were trying to say. It wasn't nuanced.
Oh yeah, of course. I think they were trying to go for Guardians of the Galaxy kind of vibe.
Right.
And they were like, who's famous in the '90s that's chick related, and they went with that.
And I guess they thought it was a girl power song. It's not really a girl power song.
It's like, I'm just a girl in the world.
Little old me, don't let me out of your sight. It's just.
You know what they should have went with a Madonna song, because she had a lot of songs where she just fucking owns it.
Madonna would have been good.
Yeah, because like a lot of what Madonna did was owning it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these other chicks were just like, I'm a chick, I'm in your face. Well, Madonna did something similar, but it just felt sexy. Like I don't know, like it was good. Like it was like, I don't know, it was a feministic way of being a badass.
It was like, hey, I like sex too, and it's okay to like sex if you're a female.
Yeah, it was a female version of I'm a badass.
Yeah.
And then No Doubt was more like I fart. You know what I mean? Like I fart in your face. Like but like it was like, but not Madonna was literally like the equivalent of Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know what I mean? Like maybe if you made a music video, I'm just a girl in the world. Well,
yeah, but the comparison between the two, I mean, yeah, dude, I like Wonder Woman a lot. I found myself cheering for her.
Well, dude, my favorite part is when she goes, when they built up this whole no man's land thing. They built it up. That's what makes it awesome. That shit is no man's land. You can't go there. Like as in, it was cool because it was double entendre. It was like no man's land, but also like that's because people die out there.
Right.
And he fucking just puts it out there, and then she goes, "But I'm no man." She fucking goes out there and fucks everything up, giving people. And this is what Wonder Woman's thing is: giving people hope,
inspiring people.
And then, like, I mean, that's what a hero is. Captain Marvel doesn't inspire anybody, not by like a long shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't like the scenes of. I got what they were going for. I didn't like the scenes of the little girls looking straight into camera. Because when you're looking in the camera, you're making a direct appeal to your audience. So it wasn't. The message wasn't for anybody except the audience. When the little girls are getting up and they're looking straight into camera, I would have felt better if they were looking off camera. I understood she fell down and every time she got up, but when she looked in the camera, she's looking at us to say, I don't give a fuck. I'm female and I got superpowers and I'm gonna get up no matter what. And it's just like, don't hit us over the head with it.
Yeah.
You don't have to, because the people that are already on board with your message, they don't need to hear it. The people that aren't with your message, they're not watching this movie.
That would be tight. It did feel like they made that movie, and if you didn't like it, you were sexist. That was like, and that's a new thing from 2016 and on. I would say is when a movie sucked and they put all this diversity in there. It's like as if they did that so they can say, well, you're sexist or you're racist. Like especially Star Trek. Okay, you haven't seen Star Trek Discovery, but
is it good?
Yes, it's like an episode. That's what's so good about it. It's like 14 episodes of a good thing.
Okay.
If you're not gonna like, because I'm watching Star Trek the original series again for the 8th time, and I'm gonna watch Star Trek Next Generation for the millionth time, and then Deep Space and so on and so forth. I will watch these shows over and over and over. This Discovery show, really good. I only need to watch it the one time because it's like a story. That's all. Okay. It's like it's an arc. It's like I'm not going to get anything out of it because it's all in one 14-hour shot. And there's some wokeness in it. I'm not going to lie. It kind of irks me. But the Star Trek Next Generation, Star Trek original series, you can pick out an episode, watch it, like look at it in a different lens. But the show is pretty good for like the one show, like altogether. It's 14 episodes, 15, whatever. And it's good. It's good. It's good to watch the one time. And when people. Okay, so if you watch Star Trek, okay, you're watching progressive movement from all time. You got a black woman, you got transgender people, you got gay shit going on. I mean, it's very progressive, right? Women at the top, like men at the bottom kind of thing. That's normal, but they make it organic, right? They're not in your face. And then okay, so you got Discovery, right? And then you got the black woman as a lead, which is a weird thing because Star Trek doesn't work as leads. There's no lead. Like you watch it, like today's episode, Geordi is the main character. Today's episode, it's Data. Today it's Crusher, whatever. But the show focuses on the black chick. So the Star Trek fans were like, look, I don't like Discovery because it's not Star Trek enough. It's one whole story. It's not like episodic, and which is a valid criticism if you watch the show and you're a Star Trek fan. And then they said those people are sexist and those people are racist. And I was like, so you just called a Star Trek fan a sexist and a racist. Talking about people who fucking watched Captain Kirk kiss a black woman for the first time ever. You're talking about when I guess William Riker gets with the transgender lady. I mean, like this is for all time. It's progressive. And you're calling the people who fucking are saying this isn't Star Trek enough, and then you're gonna call them sexist and racist. But I digress. What I'm saying is that's a new thing in which something could suck, and then you point to how they're sexist or racist, depending on how much diversity you put in. Star Wars 8 is a prime example. They did that shit was fucking trash, it's super woke. And they were like, well, you're just sexist and racist. Right? Fuck out of here, man. Star Wars, who had Lando Calrissian.
Or people that don't like the new trilogy, because they don't like Rey, or the sexist because they don't like Rey as a protagonist.
Yeah.
Dude, I started watching this guy Mahler. He does these breakdowns of the movies.
Okay.
Oh man, they're good, but he comes out with one maybe every 6 months. He's working on Force Awakens. Each one is about 2 or 3 hours long, and it only covers about maybe half an hour of the movie.
Wow, sounds like he took the Ever and Kevin's.
And I've seen them there, and I've ignored them for so long. And then one time I was just like, you know what? I'm going to work on some stuff. I'm going to put this on in the background. I couldn't stop watching it. I could not stop watching it. He did one. It was 3 hours and 50 minutes. I watched it in 2 sittings because I got shit to do, right? But dude,
I do the same thing. I'll put on an hour YouTube video on someone breaking down something. Hello,
I'm gonna recommend the Force Awakens one to you because he already did the Rise of Skywalker in those. But with the Force Awakens, with the third one that he's done so far, it's after Rise of Skywalker comes out. So he starts looking at the narrative threads, and where everything just fucking went wrong and goes against itself. And even though 7, a lot of people will remember 7 fondly, he points at all the shit and problems with 7 that are in there because of the lack of characterization. He says you establish characters, but then they don't do what you say that they do. And then you go from one movie to the next and you don't show a progression. All of a sudden, and it was a problem that I had. All of a sudden, Poe Dameron goes from the most trusted motherfucker in the galaxy who got trusted with going and retrieving this map to Leia's brother to an incompetent asshole who gets demoted because he actually defeated something that was going to wreck their fucking fleet anyways.
Yeah.
And then he says, you know what? The problem with the scene where General Leia slaps him is that now you as the audience are thinking, okay, he was wrong because Leia decided he was wrong. But if you look at the situation he was in, destroying the Dreadnought was the right thing to do because they're fleet killers. So if the fleet had tried to get out, they were going to get destroyed. Why? Because they could track them through hyperspace.
But that's just bad writing.
That's just shitty writing.
Yeah.
And so he'll start with Force Awakens, but he'll jump into, okay, they established this thing in Force Awakens, but they fuck it up in The Last Jedi, and they fuck it up in The Rise of Skywalker.
You know what? I wish, does he talk about Finn? Because I think that out of the entire show, of everything, I think they really, and this is where I think that racism does exist. They fucked Finn.
Fuck him over,
He
dude.
had such the best art, dude. In fact,
Yeah.
he should have been the hero.
That's what he said. He said, you know what? They're setting up Finn to be, at the beginning, they're setting up Finn to be the Luke Skywalker Force sensitive guy.
Yeah, because he wasn't trying to fight anything. He wasn't trying to win. He was just trying to get the fuck out of there.
But he has real character traits. He breaks down all the little nuances that he has. But then then you have Rey, and she's just somebody that's like just waiting for her parents. Oh, and by the way, she's OP with a blaster. She's OP with a lightsaber. She's OP flying. She's OP repairing. She's OP force sensitive to like hearing shit, talking to her and calling to her and finding shit.
Yeah, because you can relate to that, right? Because as you grow up as a child, everything's easy for you.
Everything's just fucking simple.
Because every human being who's watching a movie for escape has already achieved everything, right? Because we want to resonate with the person who's just good at everything.
And he points out, Finn's not without his problems. He points out,
Well,
this guy was trained since he was a child to kill, but then they put him in sanitation, and then they're going out to intercept the map to Luke Skywalker, and they send this guy out for the first time on a job. Wouldn't you want like your best number one dudes?
Yeah.
And then
you can I can explain that away with writing. You just be like,
yeah. That's what he does. He's all, you could have done this. And this is why the videos are so long, because then he throws in some simple fixes that could have been done in writing.
Yeah.
And that's where the videos get blown up. But he also throws in good examples where it was done, the right way with other movies. So he qualifies his recommendations with places where they did shit like that and it worked. Something else that I don't know if it was Mahler or Filmento, and I never really thought of it. In the Marvel movies, Captain America, he doesn't have a traditional arc.
Yeah, because
Tony Stark is progressive. He always has to progress and get better and get better. Huh?
See, I was cutting you off, but basically, yeah, I agree with you, because Iron Man goes from like, oh, I'm rich, I have everything. Oh no, you don't. And then
he's a futurist. We have to change according to the times. We have to change the way we think. We have to accept the amount of civil liberties that we have. We have to look to the future and get ready for it, because it's coming. Yeah. In Captain America, he says we don't trade lives. There's a value system that he has that he sticks to from the 1940s all the way to the 2010s.
He never grows. If you think, like, I hate that you said that, because I'm thinking back on it. Captain America 1, he's like a well-to-do guy. The only thing he grows is nothing. He doesn't grow at all. He just gets powers.
Well, he's almost like a narrative force, because he forces everybody else around him to grow.
Kind of like Superman.
Because of his steadfastness.
Yeah, but no, he is like, okay, so if you had a story, you would have a story around him, not him as the main character.
Right.
Because he's the foundation. Kind of like how you would do a Superman, right? Like, it would be hard, right? Because he's perfect at everything,
Well, he affects Natasha, because Black Widow, she's all, like, she's kind of in a Tony Stark camp at the beginning of Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But through her interactions with him, with Captain America, she starts realizing,
yeah.
I can't just work within the system.
She grows as a character.
You're right. Because of him.
Each character grows. If you think about Thor grows, Black Widow grows, and then
everybody does,
except for
Hawkeye,
because he's not really a character.
Yeah,
he's not there. He's just there. Like, there's only few characters.
Oh, dude,
bro,
I love. You know what? I'm gonna send you this Mahler guy, because he blows up the in Star Wars, the character, the little Maz Kanata thing with the eyeglass things.
What about? Okay, what's up?
He destroys that fucking character, dude.
Why? Because she's a character. She's a sub character that doesn't.
He's just there to deliver information that they couldn't find any other way.
She's exposition. She's just like, here's plot. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. And then he's like, they could have gone this way. They could have gone this way. They could have gone this way. And I was just like, no shit. He's like, she's an animated prop or something like that.
No, it makes a kind of sense. Oh, dude, you know what? I'm probably gonna watch this fucking shit because I play Galactic Civilization on my laptop and I put it on my YouTube on my big TV, which I should reverse actually because my computer's better. Whatever. Yeah, I'm all in. Yeah,
He
yeah.
does a lot of good visuals, and then there's one that he apologizes. He says, "I'm sorry." Every time I refer to the Republic, because when he refers to this character, he'll show that character. When he refers to this thing happening, he'll show that thing. He's like, "I'm sorry. When I show the Republic, I can only show you this one thing, and it's where they're all standing on the balcony watching the planets get destroyed, and then seeing the beam come to them to destroy them, because that's the only time we ever see the Republic. There's no world building."
But you know what? That's unnecessary. It's okay if they destroy him because they kind of shoehorn the whole story is kind of shoehorned in, right? It's okay. So you have a republic and you got the First Order, and then they create a resistance to the First Order, and it's like, well, why?
But they're not working within the Republic?
Yeah. So like,
Why wasn't the Republic doing these
yeah.
things?
Why is there a resistance? Why is there a rebellion? Because they're not in charge of anything.
They should be the ones in power.
Yeah. So
They should be the man.
they should be Republican. Not Republican.
Well, yeah, they should be part of the Republic.
Republic should be actively attacking them. That's why they get destroyed in the end.
Well, after 30 years, and I think they should have done some more world building. They should have shown the state of the galaxy. They didn't do that.
Yeah,
they didn't.
know. You just don't know. You just know that the First Order is the new fish.
The new empire.
Yeah.
The new empire. We're kind of back to episode 4.
Oh, that reminds me. Okay. Ooh, I got one. I was gonna, because Star Wars. It just reminded me. I was gonna talk about this last podcast. All right.
Kathleen Kennedy?
Clone Wars.
Okay.
Okay. Big Clone Wars. Okay, clones. I saw a meme, okay, of 2 clones caressing each other. Like in a gay way. Like they're gonna fuck. That's what this is. Now, hang with me for a second.
All right.
Is it okay? So that's a possibility, right? They can be gay because there is. If you watch Rebels, I think it's Rebels or Clone Wars. I forgot which one, but there's a clone who went off and had a kid. Like that's a thing he did.
Okay.
Well, if they have the ability to have sex, then it's not out of the realm of possibilities that they could be gay. If there's a realm of possibilities for them to be gay, could they be gay with each other? Now, okay, now they're all dudes, right? So the reason why we're anti brother and sister really is because you create like a genetic deformity. But really, I mean, I guess if brothers want to be gay, like
I have brothers. I don't like where this is going.
What's wrong with that? Sisters, okay, sisters. Sister, I mean, I get incense, right? But what's wrong with sisters fucking, or brothers fucking? Like, are you anti-gay? Is that what that is?
I'm not, but that took a lot of imagination for somebody to posit that question.
I know. It's only because I saw this fucking meme. And I was like, wait, what? At first I was mad. I was like, motherfucking wokeness.
You're right, though. It's not outside the realm of possibility. They grow up and they're only around each other. And so, that's all they see.
All they know. Because of the episode where they had a baby, when they got with another person, that means they have the capability of love. And
they get aroused.
Yeah, so that, I mean, so you can have the bad batch, and you have the good batch.
And that kind of takes the whole nature out of nurture thing on too, because
you know what, like when it comes to gay people, I kind of just let that in the wind. You gay. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I know, but people do argue either way.
That, but I'm just saying, like, so you got these clones, right? And they're just fucking. I mean, is it gay? I mean, because you're just fucking yourself, right?
I would say.
Well, my mind raced. I was like, when I saw this, I was just like,
oh, you're right. I don't know, because masturbation. Are you being gay with yourself?
I have been watching Star Wars forever, fucking forever, and clones have been introduced since 2000s, and I'm like thinking, I was like, wow, how did this escape my purview? Like I don't get how I'm not seeing this, and I'm like, Whoa, let's think of the ramifications of all this. You're fucking your brother? Is it your brother? What attracts you to him? Because he just has a different haircut. If any, you know, that's he's just fucking do. They just
Give a different haircut.
different armor. I don't know. I mean,
Or a different armor.
and like they look alike. So what I mean, dude, what? It's funny because like I don't know, man. I don't know. Can they be gay with each other like that? I mean, they're clones. But
I don't know. Are you starting to question your sexuality?
well, I don't have a clone.
Are you wondering? But it sounds like you're wondering. Like, if you had a clone of yourself, would you do yourself a favor?
Yeah, I mean, would I? I mean, like, is it okay? Two things. One, is it really gay because it's yourself? Two, is it incense because you are cloned technically from, you're just identical twins.
I don't know.
And is that a thing in this world right now?
I think that would be another letter in the LGBTQ.
Clone.
C.
LGBTQ. This is why we make these podcasts.
LGBT.
Have these kinds of questions. It's a funny thing. It never really dawned on me. Like, is that a thing that they do? Like, now would Disney do that? Like, so they're coming out with a movie called The Bad Batch. Have you watched Clone Wars?
No, I haven't watched it. The movie Clone Wars or the show?
Show.
I've seen bits and pieces.
The most popular clones are the Bad Batch. They're the rejects of because they're made in batches, right? So they're the rejects who somehow through, and this is why it's good. I get goosebumps just thinking about it because they're deemed unworthy. They're just kind of like thrown away. But then something happens where they're trained in a way, not trained, but they're like given inspiration by a Jedi, and even Bad Batch can be a good batch, and they end up becoming the most prevalent, like of all Clone Wars. They're like the shit because they're the worst of the worst, and they are overcoming everything. So that gives gas, and like gonna make a movie about this. Like,
are there any females in the Bad Batch?
You're stupid.
I don't know. What?
They're all the same guy.
What would have been interesting if they'd have been like, oh, this came out female. Bad Batch.
Okay, two things. One, that'd be wrong because that defeats the whole purpose of the perfect clone. And then two, if they did,
you're saying females can't be perfect clones?
Yeah, if they fucking did that, that'd be so fucking woke, and it'd make me so fucking mad. Like, because it doesn't make sense. Because that would have been, of all the Clone Wars, the 7 fucking seasons. I don't even know how many episodes. It's 26 episodes per season, minus the 7th season, which is only 12 episodes, I think. And then you've got like Mandalorian. I mean, like Lord Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, and Rebels. You have Star Wars Rebels, which is like 4 seasons, which has 20 episodes there. And then you're telling me that, okay, so you come out with a Bad Batch movie and then you get a female fucking clone. I'm like,
yeah, I hope they don't change one to female, right? Because technically Rebels or Clone Wars is canon.
It is.
So they shouldn't change any of it.
They shouldn't. You just can't do that. You can't introduce a dynamic like that. Don't you think, out of all the fucking clones, right? They'd all be talking about that one that was a chick?
They can maybe add one though. Because so far what we haven't seen, they haven't remade any of the animated stuff.
You're right. A retard clone. You mean like that one that's yeah.
Is that a train in the background?
Yeah, that is a train. I just now noticed that. Yeah. I don't know why. I thought that was in my brain and I was going crazy.
No. Johnny Night Train Freeze. I was thinking that. I don't know why. No, because like so far, like in the live action stuff, they're not remaking anything from Clone Wars. It's almost like you could treat the animated series and shows as if live action because they're not going to overlap.
Yeah, they can do whatever they want because I mean it's not like it feels like every episode chronological order or something. They can make their own story. They can make their own Rogue One. They can do anything they want with it. Mm-hmm. That's all that matters. But you know what? The endearing thing about the Bad Batch is the fact that they were useless, deemed unworthy, and they just fucking own. And so to have that movie, you would have to you would have to reference that. You would just have to.
Right. Yeah, to be able to get that feeling.
Yeah, because like, then why are we doing this? This is like having Superman without laser vision.
Well, because then to watch the movie, you'd have to watch the show to
So
understand.
you would have to reference that. Yeah, that's easy
Yeah.
though. You can do that with flashbacks. But you would have you would if you were to make this movie, especially if it's like a first one, you would have to make that the arc, like how they overcame. Like I don't know how you would do that. Like
without redoing the show.
yeah, because you could reference the past, but it would have to be a thing in which they're fucking losers. So it'd have to be, an episode later. You know what I mean? Like they had just did this one thing, and now they're, out in the world.
It would have to make it fit where they don't accidentally retcon anything, because then you're gonna have something that's canon,
Yeah,
and something else that's technically canon.
you can make up.
But if they're conflicting, then you got a problem.
No, you can literally make up a mythical battle that could have ended everything. That they do that all the time, and it just works. Like they had this one ship that took out all the power, everything. It was kind of like a Death Star, but it wasn't, and it worked. And it wasn't like a thing when you're watching. You're not thinking to myself, "Well, why didn't they referencing that?" Like it just there's so many episodes, so it's like they could conceivably make up something like a Doomsday device.
Do you think they might try and wipe out the new trilogy?
Oh, you've been reading about that? They wouldn't. They won't do that, dude.
I don't think they'll do it.
Dude, because the first three movies.
No, the last 3 movies.
No. My counter is the first 3 movies. They're awfully written. Awfully written.
You're talking about 4, 5, and 6?
1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Those movies are awfully written in the 2000s, and they're still there. They're not going to make a precedence and be like, you know what? Let's get rid of these new 3. There's no fucking way.
Yeah, I don't think they should do it, but
it would be nice. Like I love the first. Me personally, I like the first movie. Force Awakens.
Or yeah, I like it.
I love that movie, and I wanted Finn to do more. I wanted Finn not to. If you wanted Rey to be the main character, so be it. What would have been cool is if you made her a foundation type character, Captain America, kind of like Superman, because she's so perfect, right? She has nothing to gain. She's just there, and then you would have Finn grow around her. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and then he'd have his arc, and he's looking to her for inspiration, all that shit, and she'd just be like,
Well, this guy Mahler, he calls Finn like a. It's a term. It's like a co-protagonist, but he calls it like a deuteragonist or something like that. But it's another protagonist. You have 2 protagonists, really. And you're kind of following them both on there. It's hard to do, right? It is hard to do, but
a movie that does that.
Fucking Infinity War. Civil War.
No, Infinity War is an Iron Man.
Civil War.
Civil War is a Captain America kind of thing.
It's a Captain America movie, but you're looking at both of them, and you're kind of like trying to figure out whose side are you going to be on.
I'll get back to you on that. I'm gonna watch it again.
But I think they could have done it though, because they had strong characterization with Finn. They just needed better writing for Rey.
Right? What did they do for Rey? What did they do for her? She was just good at everything.
She's good at everything.
Yeah.
She's just good at everything.
It would have been good. See, and that's a problem because she's Superman. Basically, she's Superman. And what happened with Superman is they never really knew how to use him. Like in comics, they know how to use him. They just do. Because they just understand, you can't win it all. And that's life. And that's the beauty of Superman that has been achieved.
That's the problem. I think Mahler or Phil Mento points it out. In this one, they never really referenced that he murdered Zod. He's never talking to Lois saying like, I never want to do that again. I got to find a way out.
I know, because he just goes in, if I can't stop him, I have to kill him.
Yeah, it's almost like it was justified, and that's it. He'll have that option open to him. He never talks about it to Lois and says, I can't stop thinking about it. I never want to be in that situation again. I need to use my powers.
That would have been good.
To find a way to make sure it doesn't happen.
That would have been good character development, wouldn't it? Yeah, but that's the thing about Superman. They really know how to write for him because he's so powerful. And like the failing of Superman is like with all this, the most irritating thing of it all is all this power, you still couldn't do that one thing. You know, it like whether it kills Zod or not kills Zod, or save that one baby from a train or whatever the fuck. That's the beauty of Superman, you know, and that's who we are as people. We have all this power in ourselves, but we're not able to do that one thing. And usually it's us related, and that's the beauty of it. You know, you can relate to Superman because he can do all these fantastical things, but in the end, the things he can't do is really his fault. You know, and he has to come to terms with that. And as us as people, really everything we do in our lives is really, you know, our fault when we fuck up, and we have to come to terms with that. And so you can resonate with that character. And that's the problem with Ray. They made a perfect character kind of like Superman, but they didn't create a situation where with all your power and everything you can do, you just couldn't do it, you know? And then you fucking like let people die. And that character needs to come to terms with that shit. And that's where your arc is, you know? And like in the end, I'm still Superman. I could still solve shit. In the end, she's still Ray. She can use the Force and shit and then save stuff, you know? But never went through that downward curve to go up.
So I think Waller kind of points to this a little bit. He talks about maybe they were setting up Ray for an arc, but it just wasn't really there because they were developing Finn, right?
Yeah.
And maybe her arc was going to come in the second movie where she starts to learn more about her background and something that would cause a conflict, you know, where she would learn that it doesn't matter where she came from or whatever, or she found a set of parental figures or whatever, kind of like what Quill went through in Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, like he was like, wow, I get to find out who my dad is. And he goes and he you know, he finds out who his father is. He finds out who helped create him. But he also discovers who his real parental figure was.
That's classic. The very thing you were looking for, you always had.
You always had it all along. It seemed like they might have been setting her up for something like that where she didn't need to know who her parents were. What she needed was Finn, Poe, Leia, Han, Luke. And then what happens? She meets Luke and he's like, fuck this. You know, I'm not going to do shit. You know, Han fucking dies. Fucking Finn, she doesn't see Finn again for a long ass time because he's wrapped up in tubes and shit. And when she does see him, he's just there for comic relief. Yeah. He doesn't really drive her character into any more changes or anything anymore. Yeah. And he just became a clown. He became Jar Jar.
Dude, right? They Jar Jarred him, dude. Because, oh man, dude, he's such, and that Boye guy is a really good actor.
He's a good actor.
I strongly recommend watching Attack the Block. For someone who is like unassuming, you watch him. Like, I think that if he was Killmonger, he would do good too. Like
something about Michael B. Jordan that it didn't rub me the right way. I like the character. I like what he was saying. I like what he was doing.
I don't like him.
But Michael B. Jordan was too like
in your face.
He almost had this like unearned swagger.
Yeah.
And it just
there's something Boye though. Like you look at him, and I've seen him in a lot of other movies, and I'm like, there's something real about that guy. Like there's a glow within him, and I'm sad about it because I think that he'll never get his chance. Like he'll be in movies here and there, but he will never get that chance to be the Denzel that he should.
He's a lot more sincere.
Oh yeah.
And there's an interview where he said that he had originally planned on playing Finn a lot more gruff, given the fact that he had grown up since a child taught to kill and follow orders, and to kind of grow into like, I don't need to be this robotic person anymore. I get to make my own choices. I get to choose to leave the First Order. I get to choose who my new friends are. I get to choose to take them with me and offer them a way out to run away from danger.
I really had in my head some kind of a mind cannon, I call it, is where, okay, when you watch The Force, my kid loved it, dude. He was like so young.
I'm into it, but it has its problems.
But when Force Awakens, when Finn sees his friend dead, and the guy kind of marks his helmet, I thought that would be a thing, you know, for all time. Like the time I realized I was doing wrong. And then I thought they would do, because, you know, he's waste management, I really thought that they would do a flashback of him and his friend, you know, sweeping shit, shooting shit. Like, yeah, man, one day I'm going to be Fatima or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And they're just talking, just like kids, right? So we could resonate. And then like they get recruited to do this thing, this horrible thing, and it wasn't what they thought. And they could doubt each other. I don't know. I had a whole fucking story.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. Like that was his friend, that was his homie. It's like me and you went out there. They said, "Hey, we're gonna go do this good thing. All right, let's go." And then all of a sudden, oh shit, go sideways.
And the one guy who called him traitor, he's like traitor, and I was like, you would think that there would be more story to that, and then you can link in Fatima to that too.
That's what Mahler said. He said, but he gave credit. He's like, I know a lot of YouTubers pointed this out, but it's worth pointing out here. That should have been Phasma. That should have been Phasma. It should have been some random dude with a shield and the one kind of weapon that can go against a lightsaber. He was the only motherfucker with a shield and an anti-lightsaber, baton.
Yeah. That would have worked.
They don't show any other ones. He's all, that should have been Phasma. And they should have hinted that Phasma was wearing maybe like Mandalorian metal armor. Yeah. That's why she had that special color.
What it looks like, chrome.
And they should have showed her like fucking blocking goddamn lightsaber, strikes.
Because the Mandalorians, if you ever watch Clone Wars, they're Jedi. They're Jedi killers. So it's fucking tight that they put her in there, and then he's becoming. Oh, dude. So he's becoming a Jedi. It would be tight. It would be very tight if she was becoming better. Dude, they should have made that fucking Finn related,
right?
Because
they should have had like a reconnecting arc. They should have clashed, and then in the third movie, it should have ended. Not in the second movie.
Yeah.
You didn't get a chance to really to build their past or to build. See, this is why I really, really like Avengers Age of Ultron, because it gave you a story of them interacting together so that when shit went sideways later on, it hurt more because they had a history together. You saw them hanging out and, like having a good time, trying to pull the hammer up, telling jokes about each other or whatever, picking on each other and stuff, working together, arguing. Then it was a lot of characterization. That's what Age of Ultron was. It was meant to give you more time with them so that when shit blew up in Infinity War, you felt it. If they'd have gone straight to Infinity War, it wouldn't have been as strong. It would have been awesome, but it wouldn't have been as strong.
You're absolutely right.
They cheated Finn out of opportunities to clash with Phasma and to build that antagonistic relationship or the foils.
Yeah. You know what? Like
maybe even make Phasma a little bit sympathetic. Like maybe Phasma was a character that everybody doubted her because she was a female stormtrooper.
Oh, or you're a Mandalorian, like through and through. Like just they could have built up that lore. I mean, she's wearing the fucking chrome for a fucking reason, right?
Why? Yeah.
Like would have been awesome though if they would have made Rey and Ben make them like they're okay. When you watch Star Wars, was it 4, 5, and 6? It's really Jedi shit's happening and Han Solo shit is kind of like it's right here, but Jedi is the main shit that's happening. And same thing with Star Wars 1, 2, and 3. It's whatever Qui-Gon's doing, that shit's fucking shit. And then the rest of the shit like I'm the queen, I'm doing this, and I'm a stupid kid, I'm shooting stuff. Like that's secondary. It would have been cool if it was Finn and Fatima. Like that's the main story, and then like in the background you have these perfect characters, right? They're like Jedi and they're just fucking doing shit, and like you're referencing it, you're seeing it, but it's not as important as this Finn story.
I got it. Lord of the Rings.
Okay, I'm with you.
You have Frodo, he's a protagonist, and then you have Aragorn, he's the protagonist. You have co-protagonists, and they split at the end of the first movie. They're separate during the second movie, and then they come back at the end of the third movie.
Okay, for those who don't understand what's going on right now, is I posed a question to Ever literally like a minute ago about maybe two protagonists and that worked that well, and Ever literally checkmated me with and fucking Aragon, which is yes, dude, yes. And you know what's cool about like, hey, what's your favorite Lord of the Rings movie?
The second one, man. The first one, the first and the second ones, I'm all about those.
The first movie is everything.
Yeah, dude, it has everything in it. You have the fellowship, you have the team, working together, and then the team gets shattered and fucking, dude, I grew up watching the Hobbit, the cartoon movie. So I already had some emotional attachment, with Gandalf. So when Gandalf died, I was like, I felt it.
I didn't give two shits. But Aragon, though, here you have this hero of heroes, right? Everyone's talking good shit about him, and even he fails at the very end. He looks up at Frodo. And there's a moment that sticks with me for all time. This is like a movie I saw before I went to the Navy. We're at midnight. We were watching this.
Yeah, we watched it downtown
Gaslight. Oregon looks up at Frodo, and it's funny because Frodo is literally like here's, but he brings himself lower than Frodo and said, "I would have gone all the way to Mordor," and they already demonstrated Mordor is not like a thing you just get there.
I'm fucking watch that movie right now when we get off, dude. I'm gonna fucking watch that movie right now.
I am so down for fucking you, right? Not fucking. I am down for you. I would have gone all the fucking way over there to Mordor. Basically, I would have went to hell and back.
Dude, I shit you not right now, man. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, dude, right? And then Frodo's heartbroken because here you have a man above all men, Superman.
King.
I am a failure. And I got goosebumps just talking about it. He goes, I can't do it. This ring is too powerful. And then it really just builds up those two characters. Here you got men above men fail. And then you got Frodo, who is supposed to be like, who are you, little man, to go to fucking Mordor when you have like Alpha fucking Oregon fucking look go.
But even Frodo fails.
We're talking about the first.
I know.
But like that's the beauty of it, though. It's here you got the men above men, and then you got Frodo, and he's watching a failure. Like he's watching this guy fail, and then Frodo, who's a fucking hobbit. Like these aren't the guys to do hero things. They're all the thousands of years of history, because you have elves who are immortal. There's no such thing as a hobbit who can do this. And he's just like,
well, even at the end where they're bowing to him after the coronation, he's all, no, you bow for nobody.
Yeah, did you?
And then everybody bows for him. And I'm like, and you've seen similar shit, similar feelings in movies before. This one, I was just like,
I think the Lord of the Rings because it was the first trilogy that really, other than Star Wars, was really like, it was a better Star Wars. Let's just say that, because it was the trilogy and it was perfect. Because it's not perfect, but it was really good. Because when he tells him he bows for no one, the guilt that Frodo has is unimaginable. Because he knows that's why he has to leave. He's leaving isn't because he wants to go to some fairy fucking land with elves and shit.
It affected him.
Yeah, he needs to run from his failure, because it's a weird way to end the fucking movie, right? Or the show, or the book, or anything really is that your main character who achieved a thing that couldn't be achieved. It just wasn't a thing that was possible, and he did it. But at the same time, did he? No, he didn't.
Didn't.
It was by luck that he did what he did. It was because like Smeagol fucking bites his finger off.
But what was it by luck? Because they talk about mercy, forgiveness, and pity. It was pity that stayed Bilbo's hand.
In Twin Towers or the Return of the King?
Gandalf says it in the first or second movie. I think he says it in the first one, because Gandalf is talking about Gollum, and then Frodo says it's a pity that Bilbo didn't kill him, and Gandalf says, well, it was pity that stayed Bilbo's hand, and I suspect that Gollum will have a role to play when all this is said and done.
Is that the first movie?
I think it's in the first one.
Yeah.
I think it's in the first one, and it kind of teaches you not to jump to judgments,
And
to keep your humanity.
That's the beauty of Lord of the Rings, because you have heroes that are heroes and they fail and they get back up, and then you got heroes that fail and they don't really get back up, because Frodo's the ultimate failure in all this because at the very end, he literally leaves all of reality, when he goes to fairyland to escape
Oh, right, yeah.
to escape that pain that he still feels. That he literally was the guy.
Well, it's a literal and figurative pain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like here he is, and then he doesn't have. It's funny too because they don't really make a thing of it because Sam knows. Sam is
Yeah.
the one. Talk about a down motherfucker, dude. Best friend of best friends of best friends. Sam wins MVP of the entire fucking
Yeah.
because he knows what happened to Frodo. He knows at the end of it when push came to shove, and it sucks to say that because like to get to where they were, it took everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then Frodo he just failed, and it sucks, right? I mean that hurts though. But the movie's so grandiose. By the time you get to that, you don't really realize the fact that the main character or one of the main characters fails. Meanwhile, Oregon fucking.
But you know what? But his failure, it wasn't a failure of character, right? He didn't fail. It wasn't a failure of his values. The son of Tolkien, Christopher Tolkien, who became like the authority on everything, I think he said, you know what? Him failing was the same way as somebody failing to carry a huge boulder. He went as long as he could, but eventually that boulder just crushed him.
But no. See, the thing is, as characters go, right? Everybody succeeds.
The ring infects you.
No, I know. I get it.
The ring is a weight that changes your decision making.
No, I agree. Narratively speaking, he fails.
Yeah. At the end of the day, he failed at his goal to throw it in there. Yeah.
Written, and even the best of us all. Like
that's what it is.
It would have been different if it was Oregon. And like, do you think that character? It's funny because it's written weird in this way because you got a hero of heroes in the beginning of the fucking movie or book. He's about to throw the fucking ring, and fucking Elf King, Mr. Was it the Matrix guy? He's like, Hugo Weaving's like, fucking throw it in. This shit's over, and he just gives up, And then Frodo gets all the way as far as everyone else, and he quits. I just think that's awesome, though, in the sense that like the balls on them to do that.
Yeah, it was really good.
But like it always fit. The thing that makes it good is because you always have this longing, and that's what tragedy is. Something that could have been avoided, and there's a longing. Like, other people watch this movie, it's one and done. They're done, right? They're out and they're like, "This is a good movie." They don't understand the ramifications of what Frodo does. Frodo goes through fucking hell and back. And as he's holding the fucking ring over the precipice of this fucking volcano, he fails. And that's it. And you long for him to succeed. You long for him. But you think of all these other parts and stuff like that. But if you really think about that movie, you have a hero who ultimately fails.
Well, the guy that I was listening to who was reviewing it was talking about because Tolkien had come back from World War One, and the things that he had to do out there for the greater good.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. Leave those emotional scars.
Yeah.
So he has that literal scar from the Morgul blade, that never heals. Right. And they say, well, he'll live, but that scar's never going to heal. But it's also, at the end of the day, they had to take lives to save lives. So did they succeed? If their goal was to save lives, they had to take lives to save those lives. So did they really, really succeed at what they wanted to do, which was the right thing and save people?
It's a moral ambiguity that took. I agree with you on that. That's where he went. But at the very end, it is a moral ambiguity. Did he accomplish what he wanted to do? No, he didn't, but he did.
Right.
Smeagol doing what he
got the ring there so that Smeagol could do his thing.
But like not what the plan was. Smeagol wasn't part of that plan. And it just so happens it works out. And like I'm still young if you think about I'm 38. But I've never seen or read anything where the hero gets to the winning part and doesn't win, but wins by accident. And the only person who knows is Samwise.
So There's a really good episode. My favorite episode of MS Gundam.
Okay, let's go.
It's the one where you have the chief, you know, the young guy, and they're supposed to protect
Which makes sense
uh,
because he's young.
all these gun cannons,
Yeah.
right? They have all these gun cannons and all these other GM Gundams. They're not Gundams, but they're GM mobile suits, and they're waiting for like a transport to leave, and they're gonna blow that shit out of the sky, right? This one blue guy in a Gulf. It's so cool. You should probably go back and watch it again. This one guy in a Gulf comes out. Oh, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't remember it, but when you're talking
This one guy in a blue Gulf
about
comes out, and he knows he's all about Lady Ina, who's a Xeon, and he knows he's like, hey, you know, you're talking funny, you know, you got a boyfriend or something. Somebody's out there. She's like being coy about it, and so he's out there, and then he finds out fighting the chief that the chief is the one that's in love with Ina, and he's all whoa, but he doesn't back down. The guy in the blue Gulf,
Yeah.
you know, the bad guy.
Yeah.
And so they're fighting, they're duking it out, and then the guy will fight and then disconnect and then kill one of the gun cannons. And then the chief will go and then intercept them, fight him again, and then the guy will disappear, kill another gun cannon. And so there's only one left. And so they do the ninja thing where they go at each other and they clash. But just as they clash, the guy in the blue Gulf blasts the last gun cannon, destroys it, but gets killed in the exchange. And so the good guy, the chief, is like, I lost. I did not achieve what I was supposed to achieve. I was supposed to protect all of these assets on the ground.
Okay.
I destroyed them all. I won this little battle, but I lost the overall, you know, the overall goal. You know,
it's between what you're saying there, and I intend to watch that entire show again because
it's not exactly like this, because at the end but it's one of those cool things because you feel for him. You're like, damn, that's true. You know, he won this match, but he lost.
But he lost the war in a sense. But it's different for Frodo in the sense that you have a lot
everything was leading up to it. The whole trilogy was leading up to that.
Building up to this, the entire story arc is for this character to do the one thing.
The expectation of the audience is he's going to do it because he said that's what he set out to do.
Dude, there's nothing that does that, man. Dude, like it's like as if Jesus is supposed to be sacrificed and he decides to not do it, and then they ended up catching. Oh, that'd be a fucking movie right there.
Yeah, I can't think of a movie.
Where
I really
expectation is for the character to do this, he fails, but he does it, but then he lives. That's the best part of it. If Frodo had died, then it wouldn't have been anything. He'd be a martyr, sacrifice, anything you want to call it. But the fact that he lives, and it's kind of like, oh, dude, it takes you back to World War I in a way, because there he is. He won. But did he? Now he has to fucking live in peace, harmony, for the sin of winning.
The Dark Knight kind of tried to do it, but I couldn't fully buy it.
To get the Joker.
Yeah, I couldn't fully buy it at the end.
Yeah.
It was like
it had to be more of a build-up.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that happen over two movies or something.
Yeah, to get Frodo level of that, you have to do 3 movies or something like that. Or
because as the audience
build up to that point.
Like, yeah, because as the audience, you're back to Hugo Weaving's character. You're like, fucking throw it in. You're yelling at him to do it. And he doesn't do it.
It's weird. Like, I never really thought of Lord of the Rings deeply. It takes you back to that point. So when Hugo Weaving is like, let's fucking, yeah, exactly. Like, do it. And then he does it. Then you know that this is the adventure that they had. They went through hell and back. And, well, shit, dude, think about it. Hobbit, there and back again. Like, that's how they end the fucking Lord of the Rings trilogy. There and back again.
Yeah.
That happens. He goes to hell and back again. Yeah. And instead of there, it's hell. You know? I mean, well, instead of there or hell, you know what I mean?
Right.
But, like, I mean, man, Lord of the Rings is really fucking good.
It's really good, dude. Shit, I can't remember who was it that broke it down, but
Lord of the Rings is spot on. Do you think they could remake that?
What the fuck for?
You're right.
I hope that the TV show that they're developing is not Lord of the Rings. I hope it's something in the universe that leaves it there.
They have a lot of world building. They can do whatever they want.
I don't mind it. I don't mind if they recast. That just has to be done, right? Because fucking Orlando Bloom's old as fuck. Frodo's old as fuck.
Oh.
You know? I don't care about recasting. They could de-age if they have to or whatever. I would rather just see a story that complements it on either end or in the middle or something, but not redo Lord of the Rings because it was done perfect already. There's no need to do it.
Like Mandalorian.
What do you mean?
Mandalorian's in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, but they're not rewriting stuff.
No, they're not. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. You're right. Yes, you're right.
No, you know what though? I don't know, man. Maybe a TV show. Okay, so for instance, you're gonna have a Flash movie, a Star Wars movie, and all that stuff. But if you watch season 1 of the Flash, that's 25 episodes of pure glory, and it comes to an end. Like, I mean, when it comes to an end, it's like, whoa, you know, like, I mean, you could never have achieved that ability. You could not have achieved that in a movie. You can't. And so the reason why Lord of the Rings works the way it does is because it's 3 fucking movies.
Yeah.
So maybe with better writing, you can get there with 12 episodes. I don't know.
It depends on how long the episodes are. Depends on who's doing the writing. Depends on
Being out.
It depends on how much they're. See. Here's the thing. The cool thing about the Mandalorian, it has lore already around it. There's already context. You know, given the time period that they put it in, you kind of know more or less what happened just before it. You know, the fall of the Empire, and you kind of. That's the thing. They world build by kind of showing you and giving you clues as to where things are at right now.
Yeah.
And so that's cool. That's adding to what you already know, and kind of assuming that the audience already saw it, but also giving them some context within the show too. If the new Lord of the Rings show does that, you know, assumes that you watch the other things, and kind of like basically rewards you for having been a fan.
That'd be cool. I don't know. I'm neither here nor there. Lord of the Rings kind of like fucking did it, dude. They dunked it, broke the fucking rim, and it was everything. And then to make a TV show just seems dishonorable because what they did was magical. And then when they did The Hobbit, I was just like, oh.
It's almost like saying that there's something that they missed. Like, no, they didn't do it right. They got to do it again. We have to do it again. Let's do it again.
Dude, I have to fucking pee. I gotta go.
Go pee.
Let me pause. All right, I'm recording. I had a lot of things I wanted to bring up, but I mean, we took 3 hours down like nothing. And I couldn't believe we went so deeply into the fucking Lord of the Rings.
It's fun, man.
Yeah, dude, right? It's like a fucking time warp. I was like, okay, when you said, let's do the pod, or you say, I have time. I was like, shit, okay, I got time. And I was like, fuck, I don't really have any topics. I didn't think for a second we get to 3 hours and still have some in the tank. Like, I didn't get, like, I'm looking at it right now. I was going to talk about Will Smith, murder, Nick Cannon.
I don't know about that.
Something. Oh, you don't know about the Nick Cannon thing?
No.
All right. So apparently he said white people are stupid or some shit like that, and they turned it into because he was on a rant about black people, and he was like, you know, white people, they're naturally aggressive, and they naturally try to conquer or some shit like that, and then they turned it into, because he was talking about certain white people, they turned it into he's anti-Jew.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know. Like, checkmate. Yeah,
I guess that's one way to shut him up.
Yeah, I didn't even think that was a thing you could do. Like, honestly, I didn't. Like of all the races you make fun of, like the Jewish people is not a thing where I'm like, oh yeah, they're let's make fun of them. You know, like I didn't think they were like being oppressed or anything like that.
Like an easy target.
Yeah, like I get Asians, I get black people, Mexicans, I get this. But like not Jewish people isn't like a thing in which I'm like, them Jews. I mean, that's like the 60s, you know, right? I mean, like that's.
Oh fuck!
No, anyone who's ever said anything about a Jewish person, and I've been in racist areas, you know.
Oh shit! I don't remember the line, but I remember it was pretty funny. Fuck. It's from Lethal Weapon 4, where where Leo Getz meets
German didn't have it as good as you or something. We didn't have it easy either.
Yeah, try being a something Jew. It wasn't German Jew.
No, it was a German Jew. That was the best part of it.
Us German Jews didn't. Yeah. But he grew up in the U.S. He says it like if he grew up in Germany.
But you don't know that. But when he says it, God, make me watch all the Lethal Weapons, dude, and Lord of the Rings. I got hours of fucking content because it's so fucking retarded to say as well. And I was like, I guess they wouldn't have it good because dude, Jews. I mean, like, fuck, like, damn. That's a good one. God, Lethal Weapon, Shane Black, dude. That guy. Like, okay, so I was watching Iron Man 3, who was made by Shane Black, and I was like, God, I really like Iron Man 3 a lot, and I like Kiss Kiss Bang. Have you seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang? Do you like Robert Downey Jr.? Do you like Top Gun? Because Val Kilmer's in it. I'm just saying that.
Oh, okay.
You know, you remember when he does that shit? I was like, I wonder if
I am dangerous.
Yeah, dude. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is like, of all the movies you have listed and everything you've ever talked about, shelve them. Watch that one movie. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll laugh again, you'll cry again. It's Lethal Weapon, basically. It really is. But it's not Lethal Weapon, but it is. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like everything you want in Lethal Weapon is in this movie, and it's, I don't know, man. It's everything, dude. It's everything. I don't know how to explain it, dude.
I'll check it out.
It's that good. Like, man, dude. I don't want to tell you anything.
All right, don't tell me anything. I'm going to watch it.
That good, dude. It's like, I can't believe that these characters are so awesome. And I can't believe that just happened. That kind of.
All right, I'm going to watch it after I watch Lord of the Rings.
Oh, shit, Jesus Christ. Rings, though, when you see it in the beginning of the, I know we were going to end this, but when you see Frodo, right, in that first scene of seeing Frodo in 4K, by the way, I'm just saying, it's like, is it 4K? Well, in 1080p, when I first saw it, because we saw it in movies and then
we saw it in the theater. It was 4K. It was film.
No, well, okay, so you got film, and then you got DVDs, and then when I saw it for the first time in Blu-ray, I was like, whoa. Because it's green, because green's a big deal. Okay, it looks so good, green and blue.
I can't wait till that shit comes out in 4K.
Dude, shit, you telling me? So you see Frodo in this beautiful fucking land. Everything's fucking peaceful, and then you compare it to in Lord of the Rings 3, where it's fucking fire everywhere.
You got a fucking volcano.
And I was just like, they had the foresight to do that. That's fucking great. Yeah.
And then they go back, and they're never really back. You know, because all the things that they experience, they're there and they're having a drink, but it's juxtaposed against what they remembered.
Yeah.
When they were young and they hadn't gone to war. You know.
Yeah.
And they're like.
And Sam doesn't seem like anything. He is a nobody, but dude, he forces himself into your heart, dude, because he's like the bestest friend ever. And like, when you think about any story that's ever been written, I don't know anything where there's a friendship like that, because like Samwise is like, who the fucking cares? Like, the whole movie of friendship doesn't really matter, but like, he is down. He's like,
well, in the lore, his wife dies, and then he goes to the west with the elves.
That makes sense. Like, everyone does that. When shit goes bad to the point of no return, go with the elves.
No. His family stays behind. Like, he still has like kids and all that shit. His family's still here, but it's like going to the land of the elves is almost like a reward for all the shit that you did.
Really? Wow. Because that first movie, dude, like, when he's drowning, like, he's like, he can't swim and he's just like chasing after him. And then Frodo helps him. He's like, what the fuck? And I was like,
I remember we were laughing.
Yeah. I was like, this guy.
I think it was a nervous laugh too, because he looked funny, but
he was dumb.
That's hardcore, yeah.
Well, like, the guy, you look at his face, Goonies, whatever. Look at him. whatever, dude. I don't care. Then you get to the third movie, and you've been with this guy for 3 fucking movies, and when he says the fucking line, I know I can't carry the ring, but I can sure as hell you. And like he's tired too, and he's on that mountain too. And he picks that fucker dude up. I was with one of my friends, and we were watching that shit. I wanted to fucking cry, dude. I was like, I don't know if I have a friend. I mean, like I now I know where I'm at, but I mean, it's like I wish I could be Samwise, to be that down, and it shifted me in a way where I'm that guy. You know what I mean? Like I will aspire to be that friend. Like if you're fucking dying, even if I'm dying, I'm gonna make it look like that, because that's fucking tight, dude.
When did the first one come out? Was it 2000 or 2001?
Well, shit, you're right, 2001, because
it was after.
Oh no, 9/11 happens.
Then the Two Towers comes out.
Now the Twin
came out 2000. Came out 2000. Came out Christmas 2000. Then Christmas 2001. Then Christmas 2002.
No. Because I joined when I was 20. So I was 18 in the year 2000. No, because 2001 is when the Twin Towers goes down. And then
right after that, the movie The Twin Towers comes out.
No. Because, Lord of the Rings comes out.
You might be right.
After the towers go down in December. Because these were December movies.
No, Kevin. It came out December 2001.
Wait, I'm right. So
no, I'm right.
No, wait, no.
Yeah. So 2001, Lord of the Rings comes out. Then the Two Towers comes out in 2002.
Oh, yeah. Crazy, yeah. All right. We
2003.
Slap at midnight, and then I had to go into the Navy like 4 hours later. You know what I mean? So it was a big deal. So I watched a 3-hour fucking movie, get like an hour of sleep, and then fucking no, because I played Adrian Tekken. He beat me. Then
30 times in a row, or was it?
Something like that. He beat the shit out of me, and I fucking left. And I was like, yeah, that's a good memory. That's a good movie. I watched Lord of the Rings. I got beat. And that, it's funny, too, because up to that point, I was big dominant in Tekken. And then he beat me. And then I had to fucking sit with that while I was in the fucking Navy. I was like, fuck, I've never regained it since. Ever since I can't come back, I can barely beat him every once in a while.
That fucker beat me, Wedo, and I don't remember who else was there, if it was Chato or something, and 100 times in a row.
Okay, so that was me, you, Kedrick, Wedo. I don't know about Chato, but he was there, and he used Paul Phoenix. And
was it at my grandma's house?
It was, and I was like, no, you're going to keep Paul, and we're going to fucking beat you.
Yes.
Later, he still fucking beat us. I was so fucking mad.
With Paul Phoenix. Didn't he beat us one time with one hand?
Yeah. It was like a counter punch or some shit like that. I don't know. But he beat us like 100 fights. And all of us. And Kedrick got pretty close. Fucking God bless his soul. He fucking almost beat us. He almost beat him with Bruce, and I tried Bruce a couple times. And then Wedo, he didn't have a ghost of a chance. You were playing, and I don't remember Chato being there at all. I think he was in the Marines at the time.
Yeah, I don't. That's why I know. I specifically remember me and Wedo, but
it was at your grandma's.
Yeah, it was at my grandma's house.
Well, not your grandma's house. It was your grandma's house, the next door. Remember you?
Yeah.
She owned that next.
No, she didn't own the next door. We were in her living room.
Yeah, no. There was 2 houses. It's funny, the progression.
House.
It's the progression of your grandma's house. So she's there in this one house, and then she goes to the other house, and then she lives in the garage. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, so she has like a whole house, then she gets another house, then a garage of that house. And like, what was the deal with that one house?
That was my Uncle Jack's house.
Yeah.
The corner house was Jack's house, and they had taken down the fence in between.
Yeah.
And in the days before, and I think you were playing with us, in the days before, like internet gaming, right?
dark.
We hooked up the Xboxes with one long LAN cable between
Yeah.
the two houses.
Yeah.
And we would play house to house, a LAN party.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, that shit was fucking awesome.
Good times. It's funny too because we have the ability to do this easily and better. We just don't do it because there's no game that really gravitates towards us.
No, it was fun because you still had to have 4 people in a room on a TV. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was still your team was still your team. You were still around everybody.
Yeah.
And it was that physical interaction. You know, we didn't evolve the past 300,000 years, millions of years separately. We were always social, physical beings in front of each other. This idea of being able to do what we're doing right now, at least we get to see each other now, right? But it's not the same as you being here or us being over there.
There's so much more information. It's funny, talking to each other is information. Texting, okay. There's information that we're missing, visual, audio. Now then, there's phone.
What was like when I texted you that? Oh, I'm free now. You texted back, really? And I was thinking in my head, I was like, really? Or is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know which one it was.
It's funny because obviously, because we're talking right now, it wasn't like really, obviously because we're talking. I was like, really? I was like, oh wow, that's crazy.
Like, in my head, I had doubt. I was like, maybe he's annoyed because
Funny is when I saw your text, I perceived it as such. In my head, I understood what you were saying, but I didn't think to text you back or anything like that because I was trying to get everything going. Because at that point, I'm like, let's fucking get this shit going.
Yeah, we need the context. We need the nonverbal cues.
And I think that's a lot of problems with texting, and especially when you're with the opposite sex. I mean, when you're texting, or G-chatting or whatever you got, really keep those. I've learned this over time. Keep those as simple as possible, because the longer you have a conversation, the more shit goes wrong.
You know what? I think you're right.
No, I don't think.
We've totally misunderstood all of Trump's tweets. Because we didn't have the context.
You know what? I've heard Republicans say that. I literally heard them say that. You know what? You know what? It sucks that he does that. But it is true, though. There's a context to when you're texting. And there's so many layers to it, right? Like if someone you knew died and I texted you, well, at least that person's in hell now or whatever, then the context is bad because the timing is terrible.
Right.
No, no, that's stupid. Come on.
No. I'm trying to because
there is no context.
It gets lost in translation, even though it's word for word what you meant to send. The inflection, the voice, the facial expressions aren't there.
And also the timing in which you do it. Or the reason you're doing it. Let's not talk. Okay, so guy gets a knee on his fucking neck, right? And he dies, right? And just so happens to be a black dude. So everyone's all like Black Lives Matter. So when you say all lives matters, when everyone's saying Black Lives Matters, motherfucker, you weren't saying that shit before, but now you're saying it now.
Yeah.
Here's the fucking context, you stupid fuck. You're saying that directly to oppose what I'm saying in regards to this. So, context is everything. And I think that if you're in the same room, you wouldn't say that shit because you'd fight, right? That'd be a thing. That's a fight. Yeah. Like if you're a black person saying Black Lives Matter, and I'm like, all lives fucking matter. That's a fight because you're
missing the point.
Once you're at that level, you're missing the point.
Either deliberately or accidentally.
Yeah, it's rough, right? People would like to say easily, it's accidental, but no, it's not. It's just this is the way it is. You said that shit that kind of sounds right. And that other person said something that's kind of right. And you're both saying the right things at the same time, but it's the timing in which you said it. If like a guy didn't put his knee on his fucking throat and it's like, Tuesday, life is good. You say all lives matter. Like, yeah, okay. What's your deal? But black guy dies, and you say Black Lives Matter, and then you come along and say all lives matter or white people matter.
It's like, did you not hear about this thing that happened? You living under a rock or what?
Yeah, there you go. And same thing with texting. That's why, like with women, I say that with women because like me and my wife got a lot of arguments through texting, and it really was a thing in which it's just misunderstandings and such. And like that's why like now if it's something like I have a lot of information in my head and I'm asking a question and she doesn't answer it right or she asks me a question, I'll talk to you when I get home. I end it there. And I try to stress that with everybody on the Podcastforwe network, hey people, all the fans that are on the site, you want to comment, just don't talk too much on the chat. Actually talk to the person.
Yeah.
You'll do better.
Emojis kind of help too.
Kinda, right?
Kinda. I mean, because you're limited by text. So like, I'll usually send like a smiley face emoji at the end of something just to kind of give the impression of, I'm not saying this in a negative way. I'm not like frowning at you when I'm typing this. I'm kind of like,
I slept with your sister. Happy face?
I think that there's not much ambiguity there though.
Poo face, poo face, poo face? That means an anal.
But you're not leaving a whole lot of ambiguity there though. Yours was really, right? So you text me back really, and I was like, is it like really? Gonna pod when you got time? Or is it really? We're gonna pod when you got time? Let's do it.
It was the latter of the two. It's funny though because texting doesn't lend itself well to most.
Well, hence the emoji.
Really?
I think I texted you back a couple of examples too.
I barely read text. Honestly, I glance at them. Honestly,
you don't read emojis; you just see them.
Not even. I don't even look at them. You think that, but I mean, it's true. Like I'll look at a text and I'll kind of glance over it. Really, or yes, or R. Kelly. I was like, I don't know why he said that. And like, I'll go into
always said that.
do my thing, and they'll be like, oh yeah, why did you say R. Kelly? That's really. Oh, he said really. Emoji. Oh shit, my bad. I really misjudged that one.
Like I thought he wanted to pee on me.
Yeah, I thought that. Yeah, I was literally thinking those words. All right, we got to end this. It's about 3.5 hours. Again, I tried to create an hour podcast. Shit's not in the cards, team. It's not in the cards.
Sorry.
You get two people who have nerd-like abilities to just, and that's what we do.
Apologies.
All right. So if you like the podcast, you like what we're doing here, please feel free to comment on the YouTube. We're at Podcastforwe. My co-host Eber. I'm Kevin. We just do shit. That's what we do. We talk shit. You don't like it? Fuck, argue with us. We will come at you, and we will fucking be right.
With words, we'll come at you with words.
With knives and murder. No. All right. As always, this is it. Podcastforwe. We're out.